Freedom, a precious gift put in place by our founding fathers when our country was born more than 240 years ago. Freedom to speak, freedom to worship however we choose, freedom to keep and bear arms, freedom of the press, freedom to be secure from unreasonable searches and seizures, the freedom to be free from the control of government. Here, we offer you guidance on what it means to be free and show you the signs that this freedom is slowly, methodically being infringed upon by politicians and special interests who desire to push bigger government by scaring the ignorant with climate change alarmism, luring them in with promises of free health care, education, income, and more, opening the borders to everyone in order to gain votes and cause government reliance to become the status quo. We are better than that. We refuse to give up our rights. We are unwilling to submit to tyrants and fascists. We think with our brains, not our feelings. When we're pushed, we will fight. We don't curl up in the fetal position and seek safe spaces. We are America's sleeping giant. We are proud, liberty-loving Americans, and you will not tread on us. Welcome to Freedom's Pep Rally. I'm John James.
This is Freedom's Pep Rally, brought to you by The Gun Shop on Coney Circle in Augusta. I am your host, John James. Pleased to be here with you today. I don't know how much we're going to get to today. Got a lot on this gun thing. I have got some amazing testimony with Ted Cruz yesterday involving a victim of gun violence. And if you haven't heard her story, you're going to want to hear it. I'll tell you her story later. And also, it involved another gentleman who testified, and he is a Top Shot Season 4 champion. And you're going to want to hear more about him and from him later on during this Ted Cruz testimony yesterday in the Senate. And the gun grabbers are out, boy. Gun grabbers are out. They were waiting for this. They welcome this. They love the tragedy. They love the tragedy because it gives them open season on gun grabbing. They don't care about the people who are this is terrible. What's the first thing? This is terrible. We've got to take guns away from law-abiding citizens. This is terrible. Stupid. They are absolutely out of their minds. They don't know what they're doing. Again, they are children. They are children, and they are leading their flock. Maybe they aren't children. Maybe the politicians and the gun-grabbing media like Joy Reid and Joy Behar, yes, we've got them. The raging racist Reid and the mook, the person who I don't even know how she has the intelligence to form sentences, and why is she allowed on TV? Joy, the most obnoxious voice in America, Behar. They know everything about guns and what needs to be done. They should stay in their lane. They should stay in their lanes, these people. They have no clue. And I'm talking about the politicians, too. Remember, Joe, just get a double-barrel shotgun, go out and give it a couple blasts off your deck. That'll scare them away. Okay, Joe, but what if it doesn't? What if it doesn't? What then? Well, it will. It'll scare them away. Well, no, not if they're high on drugs, Not if they don't care what they're doing, if they don't know what they're doing. They want to go into your house. They want to kill your family. They want to steal drugs. They want to steal whatever they can. Couple of blasts from a shotgun. Ha, they're going to laugh at that as they bust through your door. And then what? You've got an empty double-barrel shotgun. Good going, Joe. You're an idiot. You're president of the United States. By the way, did you know Joe said yesterday that dogs can cure cancer? He said it. We've got it on audio. Joe said dogs can cure cancer. Truth. It's the truth. Okay, Joe. All right, Joe. It's almost time for your pudding, Joe. Go sit down. Go sit down, Joe. A nurse will be right with you. It's true. Dogs can cure cancer. I don't know how they maneuver all of those oncology instruments in their paws. They don't even have opposable thumbs to give you your I don't know. Joe knows, though. Joe, amazing. It's amazing. These dogs, they cure cancer. And by the way, we need to ban assault weapons. You know what that means? That's code for we need to limit the Second Amendment as much as we can. Strike while the iron's hot. Oh, there was just a big shooting. Oh, by the way, let's not mention this is a Syrian guy who was an ISIS sympathizer. Okay, and let's all mainstream media. Joy Reid. Don't mention, I can see it now. Al Sharpton, Joy. Don't mention that all of the victims were white. Don't mention they were all white. That's all these Twitter accounts, all these idiots on Twitter. As soon before the bodies were even warm, in this terrible tragedy the other night in Boulder, Colorado, tweeters were tweeting, oh, yeah, some white guy with a gun. Oh, and they're all leftists. Who are the racists in this country? Who are the racists? It's the white virtue signaling liberals. Check your privilege at the door. Yeah, you're holier than thou. Why don't you just shut your mouth? Shut your mouth and stay in your basement tweeting out hate. Because that's what you do. That's all you know how to do. Get a radio show like I've got. See how long you'll last. With your hatred and your vitriol and your racism. Yeah, your racism. Shut up. You couldn't make it in the real world. That's why you stay in the basement with Twitter. Enjoy your life. I get very upset at these people. I do. They are so racist. Let me read you a couple of tweets. I was going to save this for later, but we've got a little time here. I want to read you a couple of the tweets right after this shooting occurred, because they can't wait. They cannot wait to blame the white guy. They can't wait to blame white people and racism when they are the racists. The people who are doing the tweeting, the people who are drawing the conclusions, they are the racists. Don't deny it. I'm right. You're wrong. Okay? Case closed. Shut up. I don't want to hear any more. You're racist. You're a leftist. You're a sympathizer. You're saying that, oh, as a white guy, shut up. You are a racist. No, I'm not a racist. And no, by saying that, it doesn't mean I'm racist. Again, stupidity knows no bounds for these people. I'm right. I'm smarter than you. Well, maybe you are smarter than me, but I bet you I've got a hell of a lot more common sense than you do. I've got a hell of a lot more objectivity than you do, and I don't see the world as black, white, brown, yellow, whatever. I see it as human beings. There are evil and there are not evil. There are good people, there are bad people in all races, in all ethnicities. And but if you say anything, if we were to jump to conclusions and say, well, I bet it was somebody who sympathized with ISIS, if we had said that right off the bat without any information, can you see the heads exploding now? Oh, the xenophobes, the racists, listen to them spouting off. But they can do it. It's okay if they do it. Because they're better than you and me. They are so much better than you and me. By the way, we're in a lot of trouble now. We are in a lot of trouble, right down to our military. We'll get to this later. This is a scary time. You know, it's time to move or get out of the way, I think. I think we are headed into some very, very dark times with this administration. And by the way, there is some new information that shows we may be much closer than you think to a Kamala Harris administration. All right, so let me find these tweets here real quick, if I can. Okay, here are some of the tweets right after this. Oh, look, now there I can hardly read them. News, they don't have, see, for some reason. Okay, a white man walked into a grocery store in Boulder, killed 10 people, and it was more than that, and was apprehended by police and walked out of the building completely unarmed. This is from some white guy, some virtue signaling white guy on Twitter. I can't read his name now for whatever reason. I copied and pasted these tweets. When a white guy with an AR-15 shoots and kills a bunch of people, the motive is the motive really relevant? Spoiler alert on the motive. He was having feelings, anger, inadequacy, impotence. Another virtue signaling white guy. This is your left. This is your left. This is what they do. They are so shallow. They are so not deep. They think they're deep and profound. These are the people who came up with the clever terms like orange man bad. Trump's an orange Hitler. It's like concentration camps at the border. Kids are drinking out of toilets. And they come up with those oh so clever chants. Ho, ho, hey, hey. Donald Trump must go away. Oh boy, they are the educated bunch, aren't they? They are the educated bunch. Look how smart they are. Orange Hitler. Who could have come up with something like that? We're in trouble, my friends. If you are on the right, it's you can't be quiet. You cannot be quiet anymore. If you're on the left and you are with the leftists, then you are the trouble. And if you're somewhere in the middle, if you're a moderate, I don't care about parties here. Democrat, Republican, Libertarian. I don't care about parties. I care about ideologies. Parties are for politics. So politicians, we can divide them up by party in Washington. The Democrats are leftists and the conservatives are Republicans. For the most part, of course, there are leftist Republicans and there are more right Democrats. But by and large, you can divide them by Democrat, Republican in Washington, D.C. Out here in the great wide world where we all live and play and work, hopefully, we identify by our ideology. There's leftists, far leftists, progressives, there's conservatives, there's Tea Party conservatives, there's moderates. I tend to be more right-wing moderate, if that's even a thing. I don't know. I agree with a whole lot more on the right. I don't agree with a whole lot of anything from the left. But I will tolerate things a lot of people on the right will not tolerate. Will not. So I'm not going to put myself in a party that is going to say, well, You think it's okay for gay people to get married, and you think it's okay for transgender people to be walking around our towns. That's not very conservative of you. Well, I'm a live and let live kind of guy. I'm a classic libertarian. I am not going to swing my fist to hit anybody else's nose. That would infringe on their rights. Neither should they do that to me, which means if they want to be a transgender woman, that's fine. That's okay. Or if they want to be a transgender guy, that's okay. But biologically, I don't want a woman coming into the men's room, and I don't want a man going into the women's room. Sorry. That's where there's black and white in my book. I'm sorry, there are two genders, period. Get used to it. Science, biology, get used to it. Shut up about, well, this is not how he identifies. He identifies as a girl. He should be able to use the girl's room. No, he should not. Not when my daughter's in there. Not when my wife is in there. No. He wants to be a transgender female? Perfect. Find someplace else to go to the bathroom if you don't feel comfortable going into the men's room. If you're a man who identifies as a woman, maybe everybody should put in a unisex bathroom too. Well, costs will go way up. I understand that. That's going to cost a lot of money for businesses, but it would solve a problem. It would solve a problem. Just because you identify as something else doesn't mean you are that something. It's not that simple. Not in my book. It's 9:26. Dr. G is on the line, and we're going to be talking with him. If you have any questions for a doctor, recently retired PCP and ER doc, here to answer your questions. We've got a bunch lined up, and if you have some you want to add this morning, by all means, again, there is no copay, no deductible, and it's real quick, it's easy, and you may be advised to see your doctor, but it could put your mind at ease as well. We've got some good ones lined up if nobody has any, but if you do, post it on the page right now on this feed where you're watching it from, and we'll get right to the doc in just a couple of minutes. I'm John James.
AM 1160, WSKW.
What's important here at Moody's is we have a lot of opportunity for upward mobility.
Moody's definitely helped me through. They sent me to school. I got my degree in business.
I had the demeanor and I had the willpower and the want.
Our trade is constantly changing, and there's always new challenges that arise.
I definitely feel like an owner. It's very exciting.
When you like what you do, you like your job, you like the people you work with, what else could you ask for?
Bring your skills to Moody's and build a long-term future with us.
It's a new year. Aren't you tired of walking over the same beaten up old flooring? It's time you installed a new floor that offers premium durability by contacting HT Winters about their line of Tarkett Pro Gen tile and wood flooring. Tarkett is designed to stand strong in all seasons against water, dirt, and sunlight. The best way to improve your home this winter is to install Tarkett Pro Gen tile and wood flooring. HT Winters, 43 Bay Street in Winslow, and online at htwintersflooring.com.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Areas of dense fog this morning, then mainly cloudy today with highs in the 50s to near 60 degrees further inland. Chance for rain showers tonight into tomorrow morning, then clearing during the afternoon tomorrow with highs eventually climbing into the 60s. Rainy and breezy Friday with highs in the 50s. Cooler Saturday with highs back in the 40s.
Legacy 1160, Freedom's Pep Rally, brought to you by the Gun Shop on Coney Circle in Augusta. Guns, ammo, everything you need. Accessorize. I'm going to advise you right now. This is a little advice from me to you. If you've always wanted an AR-15, I was with a woman who was a friend of mine who bought two of them a few weeks ago. Seeing the writing on the wall, even before this mess now in Congress came up, if you want to get an AR-15, buy them now and hold on to them. Buy them now for two reasons. Here are the two reasons before we get to Dr. John Garofalo. Reason number one, numero uno, is they are wanting an assault weapons ban and assault weapon. By the way, that is a lie. That's a misused term. By the way, I love what we had a listener just say here. I posted it on the video feed. Now, I want to read it to you. Brother, sister, it has become overwhelmingly clear that our government has turned against our country, civil rights, Constitution, and her people. Now is the time to act. The time for talk has passed. Below is a bill to disarm her citizens. Also, a petition I believe could work, written by Mike Rage and his wife. I cannot believe the lack of people willing to sign a copy and share. I have all but given in. I'm not sure I will live long enough to fight for my rights. Our leaders have thrown their oath of office to the wind. I have read the Truth Amendment over and over. I read the Supremacy Clause over and over. What has become clear about our leaders, they do not care about our Constitution, Second Amendment, or our 10th Amendment. Our leaders need to be removed immediately, need to stand trial for crimes against our country and her people. I don't know Mike Rage. I am 100% sure he is on the right track to effing save our country. And this goes on. It's a long post. If you're on social media, you can see it. But I've read. That's all I've read. Where I ended there. We don't have time to go on, but you can see it there, and it's very well written, very well thought out. And yeah, it's a travesty what's happening right now. Dr. John Garofalo is on the radio with us. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. You haven't gotten the second shot yet, right?
A week from Saturday.
Okay. All right. So you got Moderna, you said?
Yep, I did.
Okay. Here's a question. They're talking about approving. I think I read they're talking about approving the AstraZeneca shot.
Yeah, there's some problems there.
Yeah, I know. That worries me.
Well, here's the thing. Everybody was worried about how fast we got to vaccines in the first place.
Right.
But it was with, I would say that the development of the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccine were with measured speed. In other words, meaning that we did it knowing that we were going quickly, but checking along the way to make sure that we weren't missing anything.
Okay.
And right. I really think that we got there safely with those two vaccines. On the other hand, if you remember, AstraZeneca came out very early as its Sputnik 5, which is the Russian vaccine.
Yeah.
Which was very interesting. A long time ago, Putin said his daughter's getting the Sputnik vaccine, but he wasn't, and now he finally got it. So I guess he figured his daughter survived, so he take it.
No kidding! Wow, how hard?
It was months ago, back in the fall.
Wow!
I think that one of his daughters was given the vaccine.
What a jerk!
But he didn't take it at the time, and now he just recently got his. Anyway, get back to AstraZeneca. The AstraZeneca vaccine came out very, very quickly, and there's some concern that some of the data was lost in the shuffle, and so that it does not mean that the vaccine is not safe. What it means is that they need to do a little bit more careful review on this vaccine, make sure they have all the data before they make a decision on its safety and efficacy.
We've heard anecdotal evidence of it actually killing people, haven't we?
Well, we have, except that's the problem. The problem is they've gone back and looked at these blood clots, and if you really look at it, it does not seem that it's related to the vaccine, really.
Oh. Okay.
There was no greater incidence of formation of blood clots in people who received the vaccine than there would have been in the general population anyway. And so, although there was some initial concern because it seemed to be so temporally related. But again, correlation does not imply causality,
Right.
And after they studied it and really looked at it, they don't really think that the blood clots are an issue.
Okay.
What they do have issues with is, and in general, they're not really, I don't think they're really worried about the safety with the AstraZeneca vaccine as much as they're worried about maybe its efficacy is not quite as high as advertised.
What now? What do they say the efficacy is? I know it's only.
Well, right now they're claiming it's 79%.
All right.
Now that means 79% efficacy means 79% preventing getting the disease.
Right.
Okay. It may be lower than that. The one thing that is true, however, is they have the same morbidity data in terms of no hospitalizations, no deaths related to people who got the vaccine.
All right.
As Pfizer and Moderna does. That data seems to be okay.
Okay.
But what they're not sure about is whether or not it's really as efficacious as they're claiming.
All right.
And so they're trying to look at that to be safe. I mean, because we have two very viable, well, three actually with Johnson and Johnson. We have three very viable vaccines to use.
Right.
So there's not as big a rush to try to get AstraZeneca.
Oh, no, right. Why do we even need it if we're going to have everybody vaccinated? But the efficacy rate of Johnson & Johnson is only like 65%. But you said that.
No, it's 75%.
Oh, it is 75. I thought I heard it was in the 60s.
No, 75%.
Oh, okay.
65% for 65% for the UK variant.
For the what?
The UK variant.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I got it. I knew I was hearing that somewhere.
Yeah.
All right.
So you had the right number, wrong correlation.
Wrong correlation. Well, good. That's why we've got you here. Keep me on my toes. We've got 9:36 right now on Legacy 1160. Do we have any questions online? Let's see. Amy, I've got something from Amy here. Blood clots, not an issue, but everything before was COVID, and then the shot. Now I'm getting they're popping up here as I read, so I have to follow along. Everything before was COVID, and then the shots taken, and people die, and it's Sedona. It's Sedona, not from the poke. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, the poke seems to be okay. Time will tell. The doctor is being very careful here. He doesn't want to be canceled. So, yeah, I wouldn't cancel you anyway, Doc.
Yeah.
You know that.
Well,
no, but I understand.
You know me. I mean, I don't care. I'm going to call a spade a spade.
I know you are.
I never saw. I'm not Dr. Oz.
Right. Yeah, Dr. Oz is being canceled, He is being canceled.
Is he?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a big story on that. The people who watch Jeopardy. I haven't watched Jeopardy this week. Apparently, he's the guest host.
Yeah, he is.
And they
watch Jeopardy.
Yeah, they're trying to cancel him. People are trying to cancel him because he doesn't represent the true Jeopardy. I don't know. I didn't read I looked at it and I said, oh, this is stupid. So I just...
here's the deal. I don't think Dr. Oz is doing as good a job as John Jennings or Katie Couric did on.
Oh my God, Katie Couric! I wanted to puke. I thought.
Well, I mean, she was kind of. I mean, but But she didn't do a bad job hosting. I think he's kind of. I don't know, stiff or I don't know.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's that good a host on the show. Yeah. But I don't think he's doing. I mean, I don't think he's. I don't think they should kick him off.
You like him? I mean, you like him, but yeah. No, I haven't even watched him, so I can't make a comment on that. But Katie Couric was I did watch it when she was on. I didn't want to, but my wife did. So my wife doesn't like Katie Couric either, but she loves Jeopardy. So we watched, and she's kind of like, oh, I'm Katie Couric. The world's a beautiful place. And I've got other issues with Katie anyway. So maybe it was
that's another issue.
Yeah, it is. It is. And so
next question.
Okay, next question. Okay, here we go. Let me see. Hello to Steph, watching from the Philippines. Good to have you here, Steph. 3 fully vaccinated Hawaii residents test positive for COVID-19. So how effective, this is a comment from Casey. So how effective is the vaccine if people who have had the vaccine are getting it? And if the vaccine is effective, why is the good Dr. Fauci now saying, well, we should still wear the double mask? He walks around double masked a lot of the time. He's had both vaccines. It's confusing, and it's a little disheartening.
Okay, let me answer her question.
Okay.
The vaccine is no vaccine is 100% effective.
Correct. Yeah.
No vaccine for anything in the world is 100% effective.
Right.
So there are going to be people who have been fully vaccinated who could still contract the disease. That's the efficacy question. In other words, how many people who get the vaccine will not get the disease? And that's why we want to see that efficacy somewhere in the somewhere around 80% and preferably in the 80s.
So that would be
what that does is, even though there are 15% who could still get it, or 20% who could still get it, there's fewer people for them to spread it to. Okay?
Right. Okay. So
that's number one.
Okay.
Number two, as far as still masking and doing all that stuff, we are nowhere near the level of vaccination and general. I hate the term herd immunity because it sounds like we're a bunch of sheep.
well,
yeah. Don't start.
Yeah.
Anyway, but we don't get to the group immunity that we need.
Right.
And until we get there, we still have to protect it from giving it to each other.
So
the other thing about the vaccines that seems, and this is growing data that seems to be playing out correctly. I mean, it's still preliminary data, but pretty good data that even if you do get COVID after you've been vaccinated, that the antibodies are protective enough that you do not shed enough virus to be dangerous.
Okay, so what?
Even though it may only be, say, 80% effective in preventing and keeping you from getting disease, it may be 100% effective in terms of keeping you from spreading the disease.
All right.
Which does make some sense given the fact that it also seems to reduce severe disease and hospitalization and death to zero. Because what it's doing is it's not letting, although the virus can get established in the body, it's not able to take over.
Okay. Well, if it prevents death, that's a pretty big plus right there, I think.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. The advice to continue masking and continuing social distancing, all that stuff applies to the fact that we are nowhere near the level of group immunity that we need yet. In order to be able to say, okay, the vaccine is going to protect us.
Okay. All right. It's like Brian says, it's like the flu shot. You can still get it. And we know, we understand that.
Exactly. Even with the flu, you can still, right. Exactly.
Right.
Well, that's a good example. With the flu shot, you can get the flu, but you won't get super sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So if the efficacy rate is 80%, say, that means if you put 100 people in a room full of COVID germs, then 80% should be okay, shouldn't get it, and up to 20 people could get it. Is that basically
that's basically what it means.
Okay.
Right? If you took 100 vaccinated people,
all right,
and ran them through an atomizer of COVID,
right?
The ones, 20 of them would likely get infected, but of that 20, it now appears that they would not be able to give it to anybody else.
Okay.
Number one. Number two, they probably will. Most likely, they would not wind up getting sick enough to need to be hospitalized.
Right.
Nor would they die.
Okay.
So that's a big deal.
Still, I don't want to be in that study. Just saying.
Well, no. Oh, yeah.
9:43 here on Legacy 1160. We've got Dr. John Garofalo, recently retired PCP and ER doc, here with us every Wednesday at 9:30, and we sure do appreciate it. And I still have a gift for you. I've got to get to you. I know
that's okay.
Say this, but nobody's going out right now.
We're not going anywhere right now anyway. So.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's see. We've got a question here. I want to ask this question. I talked about it yesterday. It came in, and I had to look it up, honestly. What is ringing here? I've got something's ringing in my pocket.
I'm hearing bells, huh?
Oh, no kidding. I don't know what this is. Wait a minute. I'm on the air. I will call you back. Okay, I think Okay, I think it was actually my garage. I got my truck's in the garage. I'm getting a brake job today, I think, and I may need a ride home if you're going to be in the area, Doc.
Yeah.
You know, so just saying.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Okay. Here's the question. I had to look this up, and I actually remember doing an ad, or not an ad, or maybe it was an ad for a medicine for this. I think. How can I tell if I have Peyronie's disease? I'm embarrassed to ask. Please don't use my name. That came in a private message, so I'm not going to use the name. Peyronie's disease. How can you tell?
Yeah. Not to be confused with Peyronie's, which are Eastern European ravioli.
No. Okay. All right.
Peyronie's disease is a disease that affects the shaft of the penis.
Okay.
And causes painful and or not straight erections.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's how you can tell. I mean, if your erections are painful, or if your erections are not a straight line, well, they're not never a perfectly straight line.
Right.
If there's really a bend to it, there's a problem.
So, how do you? That's obviously is not something you catch. How do you?
No, it's probably another one of those. It's probably another. I hate to use the word. It's probably not an autoimmune disease, but it is a connective tissue disease.
Okay.
Some disease of the connective tissue that causes that to happen. And that's as much as I can really tell you about it, because it's really not completely understood.
Is it treatable?
Yes and no. Again, depending on how severe and what the cause is. And, there are ways around it. Yeah.
Right. If you got like a fish hook going on there, probably not, huh?
It depends on how bad it is. Yeah.
Wow.
Even that,
Sorry about the fish hook. That's the first thing that came to my mind.
That may have been the distinguishing characteristic for Mr. Clinton.
No kidding.
No, I'm serious.
Really?
Yeah, that he may have had a little
Peyronie's disease.
Oh, yeah, he may have.
No kidding. Where'd you hear that? I'm curious.
Well, no, I'm just from back in the day when everything was going on with Miss Lewinsky and everything else. And she's saying that she would be able to identify. That she could apply a distinguishing characteristic.
Okay.
Blah, blah, blah.
All right.
And that was the supposition at the time.
Okay.
I don't know whether it's true or not.
Wow, that's interesting. No, that's a good catch. I completely would have missed that. I thought, like, is there a mole but no, that makes more sense. That absolutely makes more sense.
Yeah. Saying.
We won't talk about cigars or anything like it, because we've all seen cigars with Peyronie's disease, I think.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, John.
That's true. Okay, we'll leave it at that. It's 9:47. Let's see if we've got anything here. So Dan says, and I'm just reading. I'm not pre-reading these, so
it's okay.
So you can't spread the China virus if you get the shot, but you have to social distance and wear a mask. Parenthetically, Nazi control. To which I tend to agree with Dan on that. But anyway, so what's the deal with that?
Well, okay. First thing is the data. When the vaccines first came out, there was no data one way or the other on whether or not if you got infected with coronavirus with COVID after getting the shot. There was no data available on whether or not you were still be able to spread it. This data on whether or not you can spread or not is very preliminary. It's not hard and fast yet that we know that.
Okay.
I think probably what will shake down is that there will be a large percentage of people who do not spread the virus, even though they become infected, but there still will be some who are capable of it. So, given that and not knowing for sure, the reason for the mask is, once again, is not to protect you, but to protect others from you. And if that's Nazi control, I think that's good citizenship as an American to say, I am going to take the steps I need to do to protect my fellows from me in case I am infected.
Yeah, but saying that and doing it, and that's okay. I think that's fine. Saying that and doing it, as opposed to being told you must do that. I think that's where he's coming from, and I agree with that. I mean, I think it should be up to me at that point. It should be up to me at this point.
I mean, I suppose if you want to be a jerk and go around and infect people, I suppose that's your right.
Well, yeah.
But that adds the J word to your descriptors.
Yeah, I just think people
we'll agree to disagree on this one.
Yeah, I guess we will. Okay, I get it. I'm not going to push that issue. Okay, let me see. Oh, this is wait a minute. Let me Cameron says that must be why he used the cigar. That's another good point there, Cameron. Back on topic here. Okay. Now this is a really good question. My doctor says my symptoms are typical for MS. I still need more tests. Is this something I can live a normal life with? And part two, if I have it, what is the prognosis? I guess he means on average. I'm sure prognosis can vary. I know.
Okay, MS is not one critter. There are different types of MS. There's chronic progressive, there's relapsing and remitting, there's one and done with MS, and it all depends on what, and some of the stuff you can't tell what you've got until time passes.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Now, there are tests to be done. An MRI often, well, most of the time is the diagnostic test of choice to determine the presence of the plaques that occur in the brain from MS.
Yep.
And then, can you live with it? Absolutely. There are treatments for MS.
Yep.
They're getting better and better. But like anything else, just like there's, and please understand that the treatments for MS are far better than a lot of the treatments for cancer.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that. I was gonna ask you that question. You've got somebody with stage 4 cancer. It's a death sentence. Basically. So somebody with MS, is it a death sentence, or can you go on to live a normal life?
It is not.
Okay.
It's not a death sentence. However, just like the people with the stage 4 cancer, yeah, it's a death sentence. Except some people will get better. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
Treatment. And even people with stage 1 cancer, sometimes they get worse in spite of what they do.
Right. Yeah.
And so, but people getting worse with MS in spite of what we do is far less than people getting worse in spite of what we do for cancer.
Okay.
So no, MS is not it is something that needs, it's a lifelong, it's like any other, it's a chronic illness. It's like any other lifelong illness,
Like type 1 diabetes, that's lifelong illness, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Type 1 diabetes is probably a good example. In the sense that even though we treat type 1 diabetes, you get your hemoglobin A1C under good control and everything, you still get some of the side effects.
Yep. Wow. All right. Well, that's a hopeful anscer, I think.
No, she should be hopeful. No need to hang crepe here.
Right. So now, here's a question. This is not one of her questions, but it's mine. What causes MS? You mentioned plaque in the brain.
No one knows what causes MS.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's deteriorated proteins. We believe there may be subviral things called prions that might be responsible. We don't know that for sure. However, biologics do seem to help it. So who knows? I don't think we really know the actual cause of MS yet.
Okay. All right.
At least not from the last thing I read.
Now, is it metastatic?
No, it's all in the brain.
It is.
MS
Oh, okay.
It's all in the brain.
It's all in the brain.
It's all in the brain. It's
Wow.
a neurological disease.
So, okay. So that makes it at least easier to treat maybe than cancer, just because Okay. Yeah. Okay.
The problem with treating anything in the brain is, first off, there's a thing called the blood-brain barrier that protects the brain from a lot of stuff, and sometimes even trying to get treatments into the brain is tough.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Angela says, Shane Brooks has MS, and marijuana helps him naturally. He's confined to a wheelchair, but always smiles. I know there's still a lot of research going out on CBD and marijuana.
There's no data that CBD or THC or marijuana, the whole thing, has any effect on MS.
Okay.
However, don't forget, marijuana is a mood-altering drug.
Right.
So,
yeah.
It's just like giving people steroids. Steroids might or might not help a disease, but sometimes, although they can make you feel miserable too.
Right.
But for a lot of people, they cause euphoria. And so, the other thing that there's an association with MS, which has been puzzling for years. There's an association with depression and MS, and whether it's affecting those cells in the brain too or not, no one really knows. But treating depression, altering someone's mood, can help their MS too. So
okay, all right. Oh, that's good. Okay, that's good to know. And I think we've got time for one more question. Amy asks, what is the difference between MS and Lyme disease?
Well, Lyme disease is caused by an infection.
Okay.
Caused by a tick-borne bacteria.
Yeah, and so that's not neurological?
Well, Lyme disease causes arthritis. It can have neurological effects.
Okay.
The big problem with Lyme is that if you don't treat Lyme disease promptly, you can wind up with problems with in the blood vessels in the heart and with arthritis. And it can have neurological effects also. So the big thing with Lyme disease is finding it and treating it. It's kind of the same thing as what happens with rheumatic fever. And, you get strep throat, you get the antibodies, and the antibodies attack your own heart.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Well, maybe the antibodies it's not clear whether it's a direct effect of this particular bacteria or the antibodies that your body develops against it that causes the long-term effects of Lyme disease.
Huh. All right. Can some of the symptoms be the same? I mean, the same feelings and.
Well,
I've actually got a friend now that I think of it who has MS.
The symptoms of Lyme disease and MS are different.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. See, I don't know. This is good. This is good stuff to learn about. And, I actually have a friend who has MS, and now that I think of it, and he's doing okay. I mean, he had it several years before we, climbed Mount Kineo. I know the muscular pain is one of the things, one of the symptoms he has.
Yeah, weakness too.
And weakness, yes. But I mean, is it foolish to think that, you should be able to, go for hikes and hunt and climb mountains and do all that for the rest of your life?
Not at all.
Okay.
No, I mean, it's not a foregone conclusion that you will be able to.
Right.
But it's not foolish to think that you could.
Okay. Well, again, that's very hopeful.
Yeah,
and
it is.
I love hearing that stuff. And I guess, well, we've got, I've got a couple of more questions in the bank, but we're out of time, Dr. G. And as always, I appreciate your time, and I learn a lot every time you're on. I really do. And I appreciate your time. And so do the listeners. They wonder when you're not here, and you weren't here a few weeks ago because we had something to cover. I forget what it was now, but they were asking if you're okay, where you are.
I remember you told me that.
Yeah.
When we were back on.
Yeah. So it's good to have you here Wednesday morning at 9:30. If you have a question, go ahead and you can email me anytime or private message me anytime, and I will put him in the bank and we'll ask him the next time he's on. And I appreciate your being here, Dr. G.
No problem. Do we have 32 seconds for one more piece of hope?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay. I just want to point out that one of the things that they're starting to consider with particularly the way Moderna developed their vaccine is that they're looking at it as a potential treatment for all cancers.
I heard about that.
Right. And now this stuff is very preliminary, but also very hopeful.
Yeah.
And what they're talking about is now we have the ability to take a protein, make an a messenger RNA that would code RNA to make that protein.
Yep.
And so that we could take a cancer, find a protein on it that's not a protein that's elsewhere in the body in any one individual, make an mRNA for it so that protein could be made in the body that would trigger an immune response.
Wouldn't that be great?
Because part of the problem with cancers is although those cells are altered and they have strange proteins on them, somehow the cancer cells, because they're close enough to being our own cells, they protect the body from being exposed to those proteins. But if we can isolate the proteins, and cause our body to make antibodies against them, it may be a treatment for cancer.
Wow.
So,
wow.
And because this process now seems to be nailed down, with the manufacture of this vaccine, it gives another area of research for cancer, and that's really kind of a hopeful thing.
That is, yep.
And I think that I'm sure enough that with the way the pace of things are going, that I may live long enough to see this.
Oh, wouldn't that be great, huh?
And everybody knows how old I am. So.
Yeah. I'm not going to make any jokes there,
that's all right, man.
Dr. Dinosaur.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, you're a good guy. That's great. I just wanted to throw that little piece of data on the table. No, that is great news. The sooner the better. I mean, that can't come fast enough. And that is hopeful news. I appreciate
Once again, it's one of those preliminary things, but at least this one seems to have some legs.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it's baby steps to these things, but this is good news, yeah. Well, listen, sir, I appreciate your time as always.
All right, well, as always, be careful and be respectful out there.
Absolutely. You have a great day, Dr. G.
You too.
Talk to you next week.
Yep.
Bye now.
Good. Bye-bye.
Just after 10 o'clock. Dr. G, Lisa says, thank you, Dr. G, and we all thank you. Appreciate your being here. We'll be back with more. We're going to get into this whole horrible gun debacle debate thing and the tragic shooting in Boulder, Colorado. And that is now, as you might expect, it was immediately before sadly the bodies were still warm when it became political, as you might expect. We'll get to that coming up here on Legacy 1160. I'm John James, and this is Freedom's Pep Rally.
Legacy 1160, WSKW.
With salt and sand from the road getting everywhere, Linux of Augusta has what you need to protect the inside of your vehicle. Stop in today and see the selection of WeatherTech mats, trunk liners, and accessories available for nearly any vehicle to protect those high-use areas. Or maybe you're thinking of installing a fiberglass truck cap. With Lear fiberglass truck caps, they offer a range of sizes that will boost both the value and the usefulness of your truck in all seasons. Call Linux of Augusta today at 582-0282 or stop by at 509 Main Avenue in Farmingdale.
Hey folks, who's thinking about spring? Hi, this is Bernie from Trailside Performance. If you're taking on those tough chores around your property, come check out the #1 selling farm tractor in the world, Mahindra. Not only are Mahindra tractors tough, but they come with a 7-year warranty to back it up. With Mahindra, there's no regeneration, no diesel particulate filter, and no hassle. I personally invite you to our Winslow or Newport location to learn more about Mahindra and their awesome discounts and finance programs. At Trailside Performance, we service what we sell, and we sell Mahindra.
It's a new year. Aren't you tired of walking over the same beaten up old flooring? It's time you installed a new floor that offers premium durability by contacting HT Winters about their line of Tarkett Pro Gen tile and wood flooring. Tarkett is designed to stand strong in all seasons against water, dirt, and sunlight. The best way to improve your home this winter is to install Tarkett Pro Gen tile and wood flooring. HT Winters, 43 Bay Street in Winslow, and online at htwintersflooring.com. Decorate with items from Townline Antiques this spring to invigorate your home and your spirit. Do you love classic decor? You'll find enchanting artwork, glassware, signs, and hundreds more items around every corner. Or maybe you enjoy collecting books, comics, coins, sports memorabilia, watches, or classic electronics. Thailand Antiques has cool, rare, and one-of-a-kind items that you won't find anywhere else. There are more booths and extra space, so come see what's new, like a huge selection of stuffed animals, including an abundance of bears and bunnies just in time for Easter, and a new display of art glass that's absolutely dazzling. They're all expertly handcrafted into unique shapes and colors that are breathtakingly vivid. Trust me, you'll just have to see them. Have you been considering selling your items at Townline Antiques? There are now only 2 booth space left in this beautiful shop, so be sure to contact them as soon as possible. Townline Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line.
Hi, this is Tony Esposito from Rockland Ford. This year has been crazy, and it has majorly affected the car market. Here's what you need to know. COVID has slowed down new car supplies to a trickle, and factories are still shutting down because parts aren't available. Now, what does that mean for you? That means that your used car has never been worth more. In fact, it might be worth more than what you paid for it. Rockland Ford wants to buy your car, and we are paying top dollar for everything, especially trucks. So swing by or give us a call, because we are buying everything. Also, the redesigned 2021 F-150s are here, and they are easily the best F-150 I've ever seen. They have tons of new features and a great new look. You can lease one of these bad boys for as low as $379 a month. Don't forget to maximize your used vehicle's value by selling it to us. That's at Rockland Ford, home of the Rock Bottom Deal, Route 1 in Thomaston.
Lease for 36 months, 12,000 miles a year, $3,500 down with qualified credit. From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
ABC News, I'm Faith Abube. After the deadly mass shootings in Colorado and Georgia this past week, President Biden and other lawmakers are pushing for gun reform. ABC congressional correspondent Rachel Scott says a bill to close loopholes in background checks has already passed the House, but not the Senate.
Democrats need the support of at least 10 Republicans in order to get it passed. So now we know the White House is eyeing at ways to do this on their own, possibly address gun violence through executive action. But any major gun reform is going to require lawmakers to get on the same page.
Police and those who knew the accused Boulder supermarket shooter describe him as someone prone to rage and delusions. However, no motive has been identified for the attack. We do know Ahmad Alisa purchased his assault-style weapon less than a week before the shootings. Virginia Governor Ralph Northam says he will tour a death chamber today, right before he signs historic legislation abolishing the death penalty in his state. This is ABC News. History is being made today in Boston. ABC's Aaron Katersky.
In the 200 years Boston has been governed by a mayor, they have all been white, mainly Irish-American or Italian-American men. That history changes when Kim Janey is sworn in. She became Boston's first woman and first black mayor this week when Marty Walsh was confirmed as President Biden's Secretary of Labor. And Janey began her historic tenure at the Charlestown School, where she was bused, sometimes under police escort, as part of the city's fraught attempt in the 1970s to desegregate schools. In an email released by City Hall, Janey said, "This is the city I love," and she promised to make it more equitable, more joyful, more resilient.
And if you're a lover of that cereal, Grape Nuts, and paid astronomical prices to get your fix during shortages over the last several months, you may be in line to get some money. Post now says it'll reimburse Grape Nuts fans for up to $115 as long as they provide proof of what they paid over the retail price. And Post says Grape Nuts production is back in full capacity. Faith Abube, ABC News.
Switch to T-Mobile for Business and get up to 90 days of service free via virtual rebate on your business plan. You get a great deal, the largest 5G network, and first-class benefits like Microsoft 365 on us. It's better for business and only with T-Mobile for Business. Limited time offer. Stop in-store for details. Plus taxes and fees for some plans. Virtual Express MasterCard within 8 weeks of receipt of valid submission. Complete port within 60 days. See T-Mobile.com for 5G devices, coverage, and plan details.
Run with us on a John Deere Z365 RZ Track mower. Built for taking it easy. We're talking lemonade on a lazy afternoon easy. That's why we added the Easy Change 30-second oil change system to make the job nice and simple. And with the convenience of standard mulch control, you'll control your clippings without any extra effort. So you can get back to the good stuff, because lawns aren't just for mowing, they're for living. Nothing runs like a Deere. Search John Deere Z300 for more.
AM 1160, WSKW.
Welcome Legacy 1160, WSKW. This is your pep rally for freedom. I'm John James. Welcome back. We are powered by the Gun Shop on Coney Circle in Augusta. What am I? Oh, hold on. I listen to the radio station on my phone when I'm away, so I know when to be back. Notice how I did that by the skin of my teeth, too. Welcome back. It's 10:09. Let me tell you where you can get us. AM 1160 or on the web at legacy1160.com. Click on the Listen Live button. That's there 24/7. We've got the video there, too, although I have not posted that video. We are on YouTube right now. That's all I do is I transfer the YouTube video over to our website. So you can watch either on YouTube or at our website, on Facebook at Legacy 1160, at American Women Who Bear Arms, Freedom's Pep Rally, my page on Right America Media. And we are going to be adding to our lineup sometime in the not too distant future. Keith Hansen is going to be part of our lineup. Look him up. He is a great talker. He is from New Hampshire. He is in New Hampshire, basically. He's very involved with government down there. He's also a shooting instructor. He's a great gun guy, and he's a great conservative talk show host. And I'm excited if you watch Keith on Right America Media, which you can get the link to that website at our website. Go to legacy1160.com/FPR, and there's a link to Right America Media's website, and you can get all their programming, including Keith Hansen, The Savvy Truth, the Doc Green show, Right Side of the Mic, which I've been on a couple of times, and more. They have some great shows there, too, you can check out. So that's where we're available, and our video feeds are all brought to you by Moody's Collision Center with locations throughout Maine. 10:11 right now, and guns are back on the front burner as a result of this Boulder, Colorado shooting. A horrible, horrible incident. Joe Biden exploited the Colorado shooting immediately, as did Kamala Harris, Kamala Harris is famous for right after a shooting, before the scene is even cleared, she goes on MSNBC and starts talking about the need for gun control. She is an idiot. She and Joe Biden and Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, they're all idiots when it comes to guns. And Joe Biden exploited the opportunity to call for more gun control. Now, yesterday, Biden spoke at the White House, and he called for a ban on what he's called assault-style weapons and high-capacity magazines. High capacity, he considers anything over 10 rounds. And that would not just be for so-called assault weapons, which are not assault weapons. That's a political term. An AR-15, FYI, is a .22 on steroids. That's all it is. A little tiny .22 caliber round with a high velocity charge to it. That's what it is. The White House said Biden has considered executive action. And this is why I say, if you are thinking about getting an AR-15 now, right now, today, if you can afford it and if you can find them, I would suggest the gun shop. They had a good supply. I don't know. There may be a run now. I know my friend in South Paris, David Kelso, who runs Wicked Water Graphics and does a ton of work for Wyndham Weaponry. He dips the guns, and that's how you get all the Muddy Girl and the camo and all of the designs on the furniture that goes on the AR-15 rifles. And he has been deluged with parts from these company, from this company and others, with parts because they want to manufacture as quickly as they can. So there are going to be a lot more gun. That's, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are basically great gun salespeople. That's what they're doing. But that's one of the reasons you should get it now, because Joe Biden wants to make them illegal, as does Kamala Harris. So it doesn't matter which one is president. They are one and the same when it comes to guns. And in fact, Kamala may be even a little bit more anti-gun than Joe Biden is. And I'm sure she is giving him her 2 cents. Reason number 2, background checks. Universal background checks is nothing more. Will it help? No. There are no loopholes. There are no loopholes. They're perceived loopholes. There is no internet loophole you keep hearing about. There is none. There is none. Anybody who buys a firearm on the internet has to undergo a background check. Anybody who buys a gun at a gun show from a firearms licensee, a federal firearms licensee, which is mostly what is at gun shows, they have to go through a background check at the gun shows. What they want to do is make it so you can't give your gun to your son or to your to your law-abiding neighbor, sell it to them without a background check. Why is this? Well, I'll tell you why. It's to create a gun registry so they know where all the guns are, who has the guns. They can follow the paper trail. This is why they're doing it. So 2 reasons to get your AR-15s now. 1, before they are banned and it is illegal to sell them. And number 2, so you can buy one and you don't have to account for it because you can get it and the data is not kept as to where it is. If the background check goes through, the data is all going to be there. It's all going to be there. But if you buy it now, you can buy it, and for all the government knows, you sold it to somebody else. They can't bust into your house and say, I want to see for myself. But if there's a necessary paper trail, they know where, I see you sold it to your neighbor. Your neighbor sold it to a guy up in Sydney, and the guy from Sydney sold it to somebody over in Wittapitlock. So let's see, Joe Schmo in Wittapitlock has that gun. So we know where it is. Now we know where to go to get it. This is what they're doing. And this latest tragic incident in Boulder, Colorado is nothing more than an impetus to get these things moving in Congress. And now they've got I don't know if I wouldn't call it a super majority, but they've got a majority in the House and Senate, albeit slim, and they've got the executive branch. And the Supreme Court. I don't know what the Supreme Court is even standing for anymore after this whole election scam. So Biden claims gun control is not a partisan issue, but an American issue that would save lives. Now, he made those comments despite reports of escalating violence and deadly shootings in major U.S. cities with some of the strictest gun laws. New York, Chicago, Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, Los Angeles. Okay, so where is the data to back up your feelings? There is none. Shootings have gone down. Shootings have gone down. The media lies. The media doesn't care a damn about doing research. They don't care about FBI statistics. They care about feelings. They get triggered by guns. They report that people are going on mass killings with assault weapons, and they've got to be banned. Well, you know what? They're going to get banned, and if they get banned, they are going to see, just like the 1990s assault weapons ban, there is going to be no downturn in killings. There's going to be none. And they're going to say, well, we've got to do more. What do they always say? Well, apparently we've got to do more. So then what's next? Well, I don't have to tell you. I don't have to tell you what's next, because you know what's next. They're going to go after every type of gun you own. Well, back when they wrote the Constitution, all they had was muskets. So that's all that people... No. The Second Amendment, one of the main reasons for the Second Amendment is self-preservation, and so we can stand up against a tyrannical government. How on earth could we stand up against a tyrannical government when they are always going to have AR-15s, AK-47s, Uzis, whatever they get, whatever's available, they can still get, and we have muskets, single-shot muzzle loaders. How are we going to stand up? No, it's unconstitutional. It's stupid. It's a fool's errand to do this and think it's going to make a difference, unless they try to disarm all law-abiding citizens. And then you know what? The shootings are going to go up even more. The number of deaths by gun will go down. And this is the red herring. Well, you see in countries where they banned guns that the shootings have gone down twofold. Well, yeah, because 2/3 of the shootings in America are suicides. Of course they're going to go down. But the number of killings by illegal gun owners or illegal gun possessors, they won't legally own guns, will go up necessarily. These people do not think. They think with, oh, come on, give it to me. They think with, that's what they do. These politicians, they think with feeling. Right? Keep my guns upstairs. Oh, my safe's awful heavy. There's somebody in my family who has a gun safe similar to mine, actually. They're very heavy. I mean, my gun safe is like 700 pounds, I think, empty. The dry weight, 700 pounds maybe. It's a Liberty safe. And his is a Liberty safe. And he keeps his handy. So if he needs a weapon, he keeps it in his room, which is on the second floor. And he's probably fine. I mean, he's probably fine. I would just be a little nervous that I'd be sitting there in my easy chair one night when my safe would decide it was going to go south, meaning down. I don't know. Probably just a worry ward, I guess. Let's see. Mikkel, John, you were naive. All Form 44486 are already archived. Do not erase as required. Well, that may be, Mikkel, but here's the deal. Here's the dealio. And this is huge. You can give your gun to somebody you know. You can sell your gun to somebody you know. They can't follow that. They cannot follow that. It's your property. You're giving it, bequeathing it, or giving it, or selling it to somebody else. That's all you got to say. I sold that gun. You kidding? I sold that gun. So they can keep all the forms they want of me right now. I have sold guns. There are guns they may or may not have on record that I no longer have. I don't have them. And I didn't do background checks to get rid of them. I just sold them to people I know. I sold one to a family member. I sold one to a friend. I've sold a few guns. And I've also traded a few guns. Sure, there's paperwork on those because retailers have to go through that. Pawn shops sell guns. I'm not sure how that works. Because if you sell guns in a pawn shop, I would think you have to be a federal firearms licensee. I don't know. But I know pawn shops do have guns sometimes. 1024 right now on Legacy 1160 WSKW. So, here's some feel-good, out-of-touch reality statements for some true dangerous leftists, including the man mainstream media says was elected president, Joe Biden. And it's bookended by a couple of the most despised people I know, at least in my realm. It's bookended by Joy Behar, who doesn't know any more about guns. She wouldn't know which end is the muzzle and which end is the grip end. She wouldn't know how to hold a gun. That's just how you hold it. And the barrel would be pointing right at her face. She'd be looking right down the barrel at her target. And Joy Reid, another one, who is a virtue signaling racist, who knows nothing about guns, knows nothing about the Constitution, knows nothing, as you will hear, about the Second Amendment. So let's listen to some of these nincompoops as they spew about guns, which they know nothing about.
The main thing that they should do is ban assault rifles, the AR-15 type of rifles. Anybody, a right-minded person, can see that gun has to go.
She doesn't know what it is.
Of course, we have to have background checks. You don't want any idiot just getting a gun or some mental case.
Like
you want people who have a background check, and that it doesn't make anybody feel safe to have those guns out there.
I've already committed to bringing universal background checks legislation to the floor of the Senate. The Senate Judiciary Committee under Chairman Durbin held a hearing to examine several common sense proposals to reduce gun violence this morning.
I don't need to wait another minute, let alone an hour, to take common sense steps that will save the lives in the future, and to urge my colleagues in the House and Senate to act. We can ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines in this country once again. I got that done when I was a senator. It passed. It was law for the longest time. And it brought down these mass killings.
No, it did not.
In some parts of the country, it's easier to buy a gun than it is to vote.
What's wrong with her?
And now Congress looks and feels very different, boasting gun-obsessed conservatives who display their weapons as their Zoom backgrounds and campaign as Second Amendment warriors. It's sort of been an Alex Jonesification, right, of the Republican Party. You've got Lauren Boebert, who uses like a bunch of big old guns as her Zoom background. And she tweeted out today, thoughts and prayers on the shooting, and got disused by Jamel Hill because it's like, you did do that background.
Another
the NRA
racist.
tried to tweet out today thinking they were dropping the mic, tweeting out the text of the Second Amendment. The text of the Second Amendment includes the words well-regulated, and it talks about militias. It is irrelevant to gun reform.
What a moron. What a moron. Oh, it's irrelevant to gun reform. Shut up, Joy Reid. I wish they would take her off the air. By the way, I love this. Joy Reid's ratings are the lowest this past month, are the lowest they have ever been. Go read out. Maybe people are starting to see what a racist they have on TV. What a dangerous racist they have on TV in Joy Reid. And by the way, after Joe Biden's little spiel about guns, he refused to take questions. Imagine that. Mr. Unity, Mr. Transparency, won't answer any questions. He's got a press conference on Thursday. This ought to be precious. At least that's the plan. It's going to be an actual press conference. Now, I will believe it when I see it. I wonder if Peter Doocy is going to get called on. I wonder if Peter Doocy is part of the press corps from Fox News. I wonder if he'll get called on. I bet not. He asks pertinent questions. He asks questions that are tough for even Jen Psaki to answer. The inept press secretary. You're going to ask Peter Doocy asking Joe Biden a question? It'll be Kamala will be, excuse me, Joe, let me take this one. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Peter. What's your question? I wonder if Doocy's asked Psaki about any gun questions. If he has, I haven't seen it yet. I love Peter Doocy. He rocks. I don't know if there are any other. Does OAN still even have anybody in the press corps? I have not heard an OAN reporter ask Jen Psaki a question. Maybe I've just missed it, but I'd like to hear that. So anyway, this is very important. This is a very important time. And make no mistake, as they try to disarm Americans during one of the most dangerous times in our modern history, because of the exacerbating of race by the left, they won't own it. They will not own it. No matter what you do, they will not own that they are the problem. And they are the impetus of the problem, and they continue to perpetuate racism and hatred and anti-racist Ibram Kendi, our USM president down there. Oh, sign the anti-racist pledge. We support Black Lives Matter and Ibram Kendi. Oh, yeah, that's even in our state. And I wonder if our legislators are working in the background on gun control. There are some gun control people in our midst in the Maine legislature. Thank God we've got a couple of strong organizations. We have the Sportsmen's Alliance of Maine, led by David Trahan. We have got the Gun Owners of Maine. Thank God. We have some firepower, pun intended. During a hearing on Capitol Hill yesterday, Ted Cruz talked with Susanna Gracia Hupp, who is a former Texas representative, and Chris Cheng. Chris Cheng is an Asian American, a sports shooter who is featured on the History Channel's Top Shot, and he was actually the season 4 champion. He is a marksman. Now, listen to this. If you don't know who Susanna Hupp is, let me explain to you. Susanna Hupp, you may remember this story. Susanna Hupp herself has experienced gun violence. Now, maybe you'll recognize her from this story. Back in 1991, she dutifully left her everyday carry gun in her vehicle when she and her parents went into Luby's Cafeteria in Killeen, Texas, to eat. A gunman crashed his truck through the side of the cafeteria, got out, shot, and killed 23 people. 24, including himself. Both of Hupp's parents died. When the shooting began, Hupp said she instinctively reached for her gun in her purse. But because of Texas law, with which the shooter amazingly didn't follow, her gun was 100 yards away in her vehicle. She said she could have ended the killing spree much sooner had she had her weapon. That's heart-wrenching. She lost both her parents. So here, and they're just going out to have something to eat. But because of law, Or, you know, you could also liken that to a gun-free zone. Whether it's law or whether it's signs being placed everywhere, gun-free zone. The perps know where guns aren't going to be. They know they are going to be what we call soft targets. And so they wreak their havoc. So here's some of the testimony with Dr. Hupp. She's a chiropractor. And Chris Cheng. And Ted Cruz. Listen.
Many members of this committee believe that the right policy decision is to enact strict federal laws to make it harder for law-abiding citizens to own firearms. Do you believe, in your experience, in your judgment, that disarming law-abiding citizens makes our communities any safer?
I absolutely believe that disarming the average citizen makes for a much more unsafe society. Now your wheelchair-bound grandmother cannot protect herself from the thugs who want to take her Social Security check. If she has a weapon, now she's on equal footing.
Mr. Cheng, gun sales in the United States skyrocketed in 2020, including among minority groups. According to the National Shooting Sports Foundation, firearms sales during the first half of 2020 increased year over year by 51.9% for whites, 58.2% for African Americans, 49.4% for Hispanics, and 42.9% for Asian Americans. Why do you think that is?
Thank you, Senator, for the question. The fear in the Asian American community is palpable and it's real. And Asian Americans are waking up to the fact that we are Americans and we have the right to exercise our right to self-defense. And if we want to use a firearm, that should be our choice. And it shouldn't be up to the government to decide or determine how and when we decide to defend ourselves. And so I want to send a very clear message to Asian Americans that we are Americans too. And we should be exercising every single one of our rights as American citizens. And I want everyone to speak up and contribute to this critical debate and discussion that we're having today about keeping our country safe and happy and let everybody live the American dream that we all want and we aspire to attain.
Thank you, Mr. Cheng. I think that was a powerful and important message. Do you believe that the right to keep and bear arms is a civil right? And to what extent do you think the additional firearms purchases last year were motivated in part by the riots we saw across the country as city after city in our country burned, as stores were looted, as police officers were murdered? To what extent do you think individual citizens wanted to be able to protect their own homes and their own businesses and their own families in the wake of the violence they were seeing unfold across our country?
Yeah, putting the pieces together, a constant stream of civil unrest, of buildings and homes being burned, of people of all races being attacked, the stress of being quarantined during COVID, talk about defunding the police, demoralizing law enforcement, encouraging them to retire early or just quit altogether. Because why would a law enforcement officer want to put their life on the line for a public that doesn't want them?
Right.
I can empathize with that. And so put on top of that, the 149% increase in anti-Asian American violence. You betcha. Asian Americans are putting all these pieces together, just like all Americans are saying, this is a more dangerous society
you think?
That we've experienced over the past year and that we're experiencing now. And unfortunately, it's only getting worse. And I don't want that, and nobody else wants that. But there is a logical conclusion. that if you're going to defund the police and if there's going to be increased violence, and if I need to be my own first responder, that I need to have a firearm to defend myself and my family.
Amen.
Okay, thank you. Final question, Ms. Hupp. A couple of weeks ago, I introduced an amendment along with Bill Cassidy that would have provided that the $1,400 stimulus checks going out from the government not go to criminals, not go to criminals who are currently incarcerated, not go to mass murderers and rapists and child molesters.
No brainer, right? To objective
who are
people.
currently in prison. We voted on it on the Senate floor. Every Senate Democrat voted no, and it's failed by a single vote, which means if even a single Democrat had supported that amendment, we would not be currently sending U.S. taxpayer checks to violent criminals, including mass murderers, including presumably the shooter in Atlanta, the shooter in Boulder, including the shooter in the Mother Emanuel Church in South Carolina, including potentially the shooter in Santa Fe and other mass shooters who are currently incarcerated. Ms. Hupp, what do you think of the federal government sending $1,400 checks to mass murderers who have carried out acts of gun violence?
Unreal.
So let me get this straight. I don't get a stimulus check. One of my sons doesn't get a stimulus check, but the murderer does. I'm shocked. I'm horrified. I cannot understand what possible reason anyone would have to vote against that, Senator Cruz. I don't get it.
It is not normal thinking. They are mentally ill. 51 votes. Thank you, Kamala, for throwing it to the Democrats to give stimulus checks to the dregs of society, the murderers, the rapists, and more. We'll be right back.
A lot of opportunity for upward mobility.
Moody's definitely helped me through. They sent me to school. I got my degree in business. I had the demeanor and I had the willpower and the want.
Our trade is constantly changing and there's always new challenges that arise.
I definitely feel like an owner. It's very exciting.
When you like what you do, you like your job, you like the people you work with, what else could you ask for?
Bring your skills to Moody's and build a long-term future with us.
Electrical repair should never be done without the knowledge of how to do it safely. Better yet, skip that stress and let Kennebec Electric and Lighting take care of it for you. Kennebec Electric has offered professional electric and lighting service and expert installation in homes and businesses for over 37 years, and they stand behind that experience with a guarantee on all their work. Kennebec Electric and Lighting. Contact them for all your electric and lighting servicing, including installations and repairs at 861-7028 or online at KennebecElectric.com.
Hey folks, who's thinking about spring? Hi, this is Bernie from Trailside Performance. If you're taking on those tough chores around your property, come check out the #1 selling farm tractor in the world, Mahindra. Not only are Mahindra tractors tough, but they come with a 7-year warranty to back it up. With Mahindra, there's no regeneration, no diesel particulate filter, and no hassle. I personally invite you to our Winslow or Newport location to learn more about Mahindra and their awesome discounts and finance programs. At Trailside Performance, we service what we sell, and we sell Mahindra.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Areas of dense fog this morning, then mainly cloudy today with highs in the 50s to near 60 degrees further inland. Chance for rain showers tonight into tomorrow morning, then clearing during the afternoon tomorrow with highs eventually climbing into the 60s. Rainy and breezy Friday with highs in the 50s. Cooler Saturday with highs back in the 40s.
Legacy 1160, WSKW, Freedom's Pep Rally brought to you by the Gun Shop on Coney Circle in Augusta. Stop in. Get your AR-15. If they've got them, get them now. I'm telling you. This is when they sell like hotcakes, though, so you might have a hard time. I mean, it was hard to find them before any of this tragedy took place in Boulder, Colorado, and now it's going to be even worse. We get a caller. Hi, good morning. You're on with John. How are you? Are you there? Caller, are you there? What, I took too long again? I took too long. Yeah. I'm looking through these. I find it odd that we didn't have all these mass shootings, et cetera, under Trump. Seems to be good timing. You know, that's... There wasn't... we didn't really have... Didn't have any major problems during the Orange Hitler, did we? Didn't have border problems. I don't know. I don't remember mass shootings. This is nice and good and early so they can get on it early, right? Never let a crisis go to waste, Rahm Emanuel. By the way, it's all part of Saul Alinsky's playbook, Rules for Radicals. They will not let up. They didn't let up for 4 years. They aren't going to let up while Biden's in office. They are chomping at the bit. They're impatient. Nancy and Chuck want to get socialism in here before they die. I'm convinced. They want to see it in their lifetime, so they're trying to fast track it now. Don't doubt that. Do not doubt that. 1045 on Legacy 1160. WSKW. So, what do we know about this shooter? Well, we're learning more, learning a lot more. Now, I want to go over some things here that are very pertinent. That you will not hear, by the way, on MSNBC or CNN. They won't talk about him. By the way, I just told you that Joy Reid, raging racist Reid, how her ratings sunk to an all-time low since she's been on the air at MSNBC this past month. Did you know also that since Biden took office, CNN's ratings have dropped almost 50%? And another interesting fact, after Fox News called Arizona on election night, everybody went over to suddenly to Newsmax. And Newsmax had a quarter, they were up to a quarter of the audience of Fox News. And now, maybe as a result of their seeming to go, berserk on Mike Lindell and the fraud in the election for whatever reason, whether they were afraid of lawsuits or what, I don't know. But they went from a quarter of Fox's audience to an eighth of Fox's audience. Interesting fact about Newsmax. Now, I don't think Newsmax is a bad channel. I don't think, I'll be honest with you. Fox News is too far left. No, they're not. They're not too far left. They are, in my mind, they are more objective. And more objective includes both sides, whether it's bad news or good news. Meaning news we want to hear and news we don't want to hear. I found Newsmax, although I watched them, I like some of the things they have. I like Sean Spicer's on there, and there are others on there that I like, and some of the shows I like. But they're not they aren't very objective. I want to hear what in fact, I watch MSNBC and CNN because I want to see what they're talking about. I go to their websites. And they are not objective. Fox News is the most objective of any of the networks, any of them, whether it's, the mainstream ABC, CBS, ABC, NBC, whatever, and the cable networks. They are the most objective. I don't like some of the things they say, but I want to hear it because I want to know what the other side is doing. I don't want stuff kept from me. The Democrats apparently do, or at least the news media thinks they do. So they don't tell them certain things. Now, if I were a lefty doing a show on the radio, I would probably only watch my chosen news media, because that's what they do. They don't get it from all the different sides. I do. But they'd be watching MSNBC and CNN. And if I were a lefty host on the radio, I would probably know nothing about Hunter Biden's laptop. I would know nothing about it. Somebody would call and say, well, what about Hunter's laptop? And I'd say, what? What are you even talking about? Because they don't tell you everything. I'm hungry. You should be too, hungry for what everybody is doing, left and right. Good and bad. And I've learned a lot by using so many different. Now, I'm not insinuating you should go to 20 news sources, which I typically do daily. But, you know, I mean, look at what they're doing. Just tune in once in a while. Just pick a random time and tune in to CNN, MSNBC, if you've got some time. I realize people are busy. This is, and it's not lost on me that this is my job. It's not your job. You should be able to tune into a channel and get the news you need. Well, I'll tell you, MSNBC and CNN and neither of the alphabet networks, none of them, you're not going to get it. You just are not going to get it. Or are you from Newsmax and perhaps, I don't watch OAN that much either, because they are, although they're more palatable to me than the other ones, I'm not getting the whole story. I want everything. We need to have everything. So about this shooting, there were 10 people who perished. For some reason, I thought there were more. 10 is too many. 1 is too many. I guess I was getting that confused with another story I had, the 23 that were killed in that shooting in Texas back in 91. So 10 people perished in this supermarket shooting in Boulder, carried out by Ahmed al-Issa. Full name, Ahmed al-Aliwi al-Issa. Now, all of them appeared to be white. But that's not convenient. So that was not reported. Because the media is there. The left, I know this sounds harsh. The left, part of their objective, I wouldn't doubt if it's in their mission statement, written or unwritten, they are there to perpetuate racism on behalf of the Democrats. Yeah, they're the racist ones. By and large, conservatives are not racist. We don't even want to talk about it. I don't even want to be talking about this. But again, you have to know the whole story. You have to understand what's going on. Yes, there are some conservative racists. I'm not denying that. There are racists in all walks of life, in all races, in all ethnicities. There are racists. It's dumb. It's ignorant. But it just is a fact of life. We live in an imperfect world. They think they can make it perfect. That's the scary part. They think they can make it a more perfect world. And what they're doing what they're doing is only making it worse. So these people that were shot, they all appeared to be white, but neither the media nor politicians have bothered to resurrect their anti-race hate campaign that ensues when Black Lives Matter riot or when Asians are murdered in Atlanta. The victims of the shooting at the grocery store included store workers, local college graduates, Medicare agents, a police officer, an Orthodox Christian. All appeared to be white. The National Pulse is calling on the political left and their media counterparts to stop the racial hatred they continue to perpetuate against white people, including the white virtue signalers on social media. Lose your privilege, they'll tell you. You're a racist. I was called a racist. My friend Laura at the Red Barn Chicken Outlet in Augusta was called a racist. She was called a racist because she supported the local police. Can you believe it? By white guys. White, oh, I'm better than you are. I'm not racist, but you, chicken lady, you, Mr. Talk Show conservative, you're racist. But they're not. Oh, yeah, they are. Oh, they are very racist. They're just too stupid to realize it. The National Pulse is right. They're perpetuating racism against white people, which doubtlessly led to the murders in Colorado, according to the National Pulse. Now, thanks to institutions like the University of Southern Maine and President Dr. Glenn Cummings, who reminds me a lot of Ethan Strimling. If you look at him, he looks like one of these, yes, I'm better than you, and I'm going to defend Black Lives Matter. That's exactly what he said. He promotes Black Lives Matter and Ibram Kendi's anti-racist pledge, because race, we have to keep race. We have to talk about race. We have to keep race at the forefront. We have to have people fighting. It gives the Democrats power. That's why we have open borders now. You talk about hurting the black community, keep those open borders. Keep those open borders. And let's see what you talk about racist. You talk about racist motives, whether or not they realize it, that's exactly what they're doing. And they're either smart like a fox and they know what they're doing, they're getting more votes into the country, or they're just plain ignorant fools. It could go either way. I'm sure there's something to be said for both of those. So we're experiencing a race war started and perpetuated by the left while we sit here as unwilling targets of hatred. Just by sitting there, just by listening to this show, you may be called a racist. They see your name on the stream, they'll start, you're a racist. You're listening to that racist on the radio. Really? Sorry, but I've never been one to see race. I've known and I've worked with people of Asian descent, I've worked with black people. I've worked with a ton of people in this business, and I don't ever remember having any prejudicial thoughts against any of them, thinking they were any less. Most of them were better than me. I have a low self-esteem. Most everybody I meet of any race, color, creed, I think automatically they are better than me. And they probably are. But if you say you're not a racist, then you are, according to the white virtue signalers. Well, you said you're not a racist. That means you are a racist. What? What are you even talking? Do you know what you're talking about? Do you know what a fool you sound like? No, they don't. They have no idea. They don't care. They aren't going to stop. I'm convinced that the sheep on the left are simply tools, I said tools of the political left and propagandist media. And they are being used to carry out the final play in the leftist playbook. Do you know what that final play in the leftist playbook is? Here it is. Listen to this. This is 3 words. 3 words, and you'll see it very clearly what the left is doing. Divide and conquer. Do you see what they're doing? No, it's not conservatives doing it. The left, dividing and conquering. They keep people hating each other. Why do you think this reparations bill is being talked about? Because ancestors of slaves need to be paid off by ancestors of slave owners? Or do you think it's to drive the proverbial wedge between the blacks and the whites and the Asians and everybody of any different ethnicity or color? Bingo! Divide and conquer. This is their final play, and they're almost where they want to be. And they know it. They know they're playing a dangerous game. Why do you think they have a fortress around the United States Capitol that they refuse to take down? Why do you think that is? Because they are maybe rightfully afraid of what could be coming. Why do you think gun control is all the rage now on the left? Why? Oh, we don't need an armed public. We get rid of the armed public. We can take that damn fence down. We'll be safe. Then we can take over the country. You heard Chuck Schumer say it before the Georgia senatorial elections when those 2 morons got elected. Purdue and, was it Purdue? Maybe Purdue was, I don't remember. I know Raphael Warnock, the communist, the apologize for your worship of whiteness. I know he's one of the ones that got elected. David Perdue might have been a conservative. I can't remember. It was Georgia. It's not, I did not like I followed it that closely, but Chuck Schumer said, and he said it like a dictator, we'll win Georgia and then we'll change America. He sounded like Hitler. Be very afraid of these people. The right has never got up he might as well have had a shoe in his hand pounding a lectern. We'll change America, Chuck Schumer says. Well, look at that. I guess he was right, huh? I guess he was right. And they're afraid of what we might do about it. So they build a fortress around the Capitol. They blame conservative Trump supporters of an armed insurrection. Neither is true, by the way. It wasn't an insurrection, and it wasn't armed. Where were the arms? Where were all the guns? Show me, tell me. But they echo it all over social media. Well, you had all these armed thugs coming into the Capitol, and they were going to shoot up. There was enough guns and ammo to shoot everybody in Congress. Okay, where were they? There was 1 shot fired, 1 gun fired, and it killed a veteran. They lie. They lie to get their way. And it looks like they're getting it. It looks like we're turning that corner, that left-hand corner, and we're going deep into the abyss where there is no returning from. Now, we had an attorney on the air the other day, last week, who was much more optimistic than I am about the future of America, thinking it's not too late to save her. I hope she was right. I pray she was right. I'm losing faith, but I'm holding on to hope. We are a strong people. But we can't be quiet, as she said. Her name was Pam Popper. Pam Popper. I don't know if she was an attorney. She worked with an attorney. She worked with Tom Renz, who is the attorney who filed a lawsuit in May against Janet Mills. And, of course, that wasn't big in the news, was it? No, they want to ignore any. All they talk about is what a great job Janet Mills is doing on COVID. I love reading through some of the Woke Center 6 posts on Facebook. They always put such lockdown accepting posts on their Facebook page. And, you have conservatives that go on there and say, we're getting tired of the lockdowns. And then you've got some of these other virtue signalers. Well, thanks to her lockdowns, you're alive today. Shut up. Crawl back into your little hole there and put your mask on and just quiet down. You have nothing that even begins to resemble freedom to contribute. So shut up and just go away. But they're all over. They're all over the place because the government is controlling them. The government is starting to control the narrative, and that is a very dangerous place to be because the government is a leftist government now in Maine, in a lot of states, and where there is conservative government, like in South Dakota, like in Florida, they get excoriated. While it seems up until just recently, Andrew Cuomo has he's skated right through. Now with all the sex allegations, it doesn't matter that he killed 13,000 people in nursing homes and then wrote a book about what a great job he was doing, and he won an Emmy Award for what a great job he was doing. No, none of that matters. But when the sex allegations come out and you really have to start believing the woman, doing what you say you believe in, as opposed to Kamala Harris, who all of a sudden doesn't care about the woman, the woman doesn't exist anymore to Kamala, not now that she's in a place of power. Tara Reid, well, she's nothing. She's nothing to me. Oh, Tara Reid, she's just lying about Joe Biden raping her back in the 90s. I don't need to hear from her. Well, she needed to hear from her before the election, before Joe won the primary, needed to hear about it. But as soon as she got a chance to rise in power, she forgot all about Tara Reid. Tara Reid, who the hell is she? This is your left. Maddening, you bet it is. You bet it is. And now we're in deep trouble. The military is not going to be spared either. We'll get to that next hour. And we're going to finish up on this shooter, too. A lot more to come about the shooter. You're going to want to hear this. Stick around. I've got to take a break here. Freedom's Pep Rally. I'm John James. Thanks for being here.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
ABC News, I'm Jim Ryan. Investigators are learning more about the suspect in the Boulder, Colorado grocery store shootings. There's no known motive, but we do know that alleged gunman Ahmad Alissa has been arrested before.
Police say he did not have a lengthy record, but investigators did point out that he was convicted in 2018 for misdemeanor assault. Accused of repeatedly punching a fellow high school student, authorities are searching through social media posts and assessing whether some are authentic, including the one posting on a Facebook page where someone identified as Alissa claims he was mistreated because he was a Muslim.
ABC Chief Law and Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas. Senate Democrats say they're pushing toward a vote on expanded background checks for gun purchases. President Biden is looking into some sort of executive action as well. A cargo ship has become wedged across Egypt's Suez Canal, blocking all traffic on the waterway. Tugboats are now trying to unstick it. This is ABC News. Votes are being tallied in the fourth national election in Israel in the last 2 years. So far, there's no clear winner.
The political future of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu becoming more uncertain overnight as more votes were counted. With 90% of the ballots in, Netanyahu can no longer form a narrow right-wing government, and that's even if rival Naftali Bennett joins him. If those results hold up, Netanyahu will be forced to look in unlikely and unfriendly places to stay in power, parties led by rivals, the left and Arab Israelis. It's a high bar, which is why so many here are already talking about a fifth election. Jordana Miller, ABC News, Jerusalem.
At an unusual royal birth, the newest great-grandchild of Britain's Queen Elizabeth was born on a bathroom floor. Zara Tyndall, granddaughter of the Queen, went into labor so quickly there was no chance to get to a hospital. Her husband helped with the delivery. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
I absolutely love my dog, but the constant shedding, not so much. But then I got a Swiffer Sweeper Pet Kit, and it is amazing. These super thick cloths pick up a crazy amount of hair. Just look at all that. And that was from just one swipe. And the best part? Sweeper's so much easier to maneuver than a broom or a vacuum, easily getting around chairs and under the couch. You're right. Now I can focus on you, not your shedding. Swiffer Sweeper Pet Kit, because shed happens.
Allstate now has deeper savings, and deeper savings require deep thoughts and a deep voice, like mine. Save for being a new customer. Save more for adding DriveWise, and save even more for driving safely. Visit Allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. As someone once said, saving today is money tomorrow. That's deep.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Welcome to Freedom's Pet Rally. No mask, no problem. Just please keep your distance for your own safety. This guy has been known to bite. It's John James on Legacy 1160, Maine's heritage station.
Milan LeVay. I wore my shirt with Milan LeVay on it this morning. Can you see that? Right there. Oh. I don't know how to turn this thing. Turning myself right upside down. There it is. Cabela's. There you go. There you go, baby. Woo! Come and take them. All right. Wait a minute. I've got to readjust this stupid thing now. Okay. All right. Hey, I'm going to promote my own business for a second here, if I might. This is a commercial. This is a free. I'm giving myself a free commercial. Now I'm serious about this. I do professional video. I can do a if you got a gun store, if you got a store, I don't care if it's a restaurant, a gun shop, pot shop, I don't care what it is. You want to do like a 5-minute documentary about it, professional video. We can do 1080p, we can do 4K, professional microphoning. You know, it's none of this, you hear somebody in the back, you hear echoey sounds coming through a camera microphone. No, this is all professional. This is like TV quality stuff. Just private message me for information, and it can be done. It can be done. We'll come to your place. We'll do a nice setup. We'll do, professional lighting, professional miking, professional high quality video, and it'll be about you. It'll be about your store, whatever you want it to be about. Within reason. So if there are any strip clubs in the air, no, I'm kidding. I am kidding. Of course, I'm kidding. Beverage stores. I mean, I just think about beverage stores. We've got Damon's Beverage all over the place here. They're a great family outfit. And, a lot of these stores, people don't know some of the cool things, some of the if you're a bourbon connoisseur or a scotch connoisseur, or, you like some of the hard to get stuff. I mean, there's stuff that you don't know it's there unless you go in and look or you call. Well, this would be a way, just saying, to get the word out, to show your product, what you've got in high definition. So high, you can almost taste it. In fact, there's a warning that'll come with the video. Do not drive after you watch. 1112 here on Legacy 1160. WSKW 6219759, voice line 207-6219759. The text line 207-441-6969. Also comment on our social media there if you'd like. And you can also text us too. And I haven't been checking the text line too much this morning. Oh my word. 100 texts. Okie dokie. I guess we won't be getting to all those. Oh, Today in History. Oh, I get a request for Today in History. I didn't do that, did I? Holy cow. We always do that. I love the Today in History. And we were a little pressed for time because I got off on this Boulder, Colorado, this horrible tragedy, and the knee-jerk reaction, the opportunistic reaction by the left to take away our guns. So we'll get back to this shooter. We've learned more about the shooting and about the shooter, and you're going to want to hear this. But yeah, there's only a minute and a half, and I'm glad you brought it up. Today in History, it is April the 24th, and this is the Associated Press. Elvis is in here.
March 24th, 1999. NATO launches U.S.-led airstrikes against Yugoslavia over the Kosovo crisis. President Bill Clinton tells the American people,
"We have acted with resolve for several reasons. We act to protect thousands of innocent people in Kosovo from a mounting military offensive."
1989.
Major damage has kind of been done. We kind of rock and rolled over it.
America's worst oil spill takes place in Alaska's Prince William Sound. The tanker Exxon Valdez runs aground on a reef and begins to leak millions of gallons of crude. 1958.
Don't be cruel to a heart that's true.
Singer
Come on,
Elvis
everybody.
Presley is inducted into the U.S. Army in Memphis, Tennessee. He serves in Germany for 2 years. 1955. In New York, the Tennessee Williams play Cat on a Hot Tin Roof opens on Broadway. And 2002.
And it's for every nameless, faceless woman of color that now has a chance because his door tonight has been opened.
Halle Berry becomes the first black actress to win an Oscar for a leading role for Monsters Ball. And Denzel Washington becomes the second black actor to win a Best Actor Oscar for Training Day. Today in history, March 24th. Ed Donahue, The Associated Press.
I wonder what Elvis would think of what's going on. I really do. I mean, there's a guy who I don't know where he stood politically. I have no idea. Never really cared. You know, when he died in 1977, I wasn't really involved in the political thing at all, so I didn't care. I didn't know. But I wondered he was a great American in more ways than one. He was a great entertainer, great. I mean, one of the greatest of the great. And he was, and it gives me the chills to think that this great entertainer served our country. And, he's just, I don't know. He's just a great role model. I thought he was a great role model. Thank you. Thank you very much. I do a little Elvis. Thank you, Derica. Derica, I did post a video that I did with Lisa Wardwell several years ago. China Dine, of course, is closed now. And I did do a documentary on the China Dine. It's a very interesting story. And it runs a little longer than I would suggest a documentary runs, although that was very well received, I've got to say, just because of the history in it. We started with the original owner, Norm Elvin, who's another great American who I love dearly. Norm Elvin owns G&E Roofing. He was the original owner of the China Diner, then Lisa Wardwell bought it. And we went through the whole history of the place and a lot of the staff, and I had a great time shooting that video. I really did. But yeah, I posted that on my page. So there's an example of some of the work I did. That was one of the first documentaries I shot, actually. It was actually the first documentary I shot. I made sure I did. I think I did it right. I don't know. I'm a poor judge of my own work, but I think I did it right. I think it was compelling, and I did all the voice work in it. I'm a one-man show. Jason, I appreciate your offer to help. I know Jason does a lot of videos, and you never know. But yeah, I do these things. So if you want to contact me, private message me or something, I'd certainly be interested in talking with you. Talk is cheap, right? 1117 here on Legacy 1160 WSKW. So we've talked about this shooter, his full name is Ahmad Aliwi Al-Issa. And, and don't feel bad. Don't feel bad if the first thing you think is, oh my God, he's ISIS sympathizer. Because you're not the only one. And I'm sure a lot of people on the left, they would never admit it. They would never, ever, 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 ever admit it, but they think the same thing. They do. They'll say they don't. How dare you automatically think he is an Islamic terrorist? You xenophobe, you racist. And you know why they do that? Because they they think the same thing. It's not racism. It's not conditioning. It is simply a visceral reaction to a name and I'm going to sound from it. I'm going to explain this because it's normal. I believe it's normal. It's just that nobody else will say it, and I get it. I get why. But we were at an airport in Philadelphia. I think it was Philadelphia. And we were sitting in the terminal waiting for our boarding call. And in front of us, there were a couple of guys. They looked like they were from, they were from, I don't know where they were from, the Middle East, it looked like. One of them did have the turban on, the other one didn't. And they were talking. And they're getting on the plane. And you know, your gut tells you there's nothing to worry about, but it goes through your mind. It goes through your mind. You don't have any noticeable reaction. You don't say anything. That would be wrong. I mean, that would just be wrong. So you sit there, but you think, because you remember 9/11. Because if you lived through 9/11 and you saw the pictures that kept coming out of the terrorists, and you've seen all of the terrorism, Islamic terrorism, I'm talking about radical Islamic terrorism, you're not bad. You aren't bad for having these things go through your mind. You are human. And if you're a lefty and you say, I can't believe that you would even think that. Stop being disingenuous, because you would think it too. You would. Simple. Don't deny it. It's laughable. It's laughable. So, here are some more inconvenient truths about Ahmad El-Issa. In Facebook posts over the last 18 months, he complained about not having a girlfriend. Boy, that sounds familiar, doesn't it? He ranted about President Trump and talked about his Islamic faith. The New York Times reported on Tuesday that he was known to the FBI because he was linked to another person who has been under investigation for something else. No more details on that. In July 2019, he ranted about racist Islamophobic people hacking his phone. His motive hasn't been confirmed by police. His brother confirmed he was the shooter in an interview with the Daily Beast on Tuesday, saying he was paranoid and very antisocial. He insisted that the shooting was not politically motivated and said it was not at all a political statement, it's mental illness. Okay, well, that may be true. Not going to discount that. That may be true. The guy used to be bullied a lot in high school. He was like an outgoing kid, but after he went to high school and got bullied a lot, he started becoming antisocial, according to his brother. Another told the Denver Post that El-Issa was violent, scary to be around, and once threatened to kill teammates. He was kind of scary to be around. His senior year, during his wrestle-offs to see who makes varsity, he actually lost his match and quit the team and yelled out in the wrestling room that he was like going to kill everybody. Nobody believed him. We were just all kind of freaked out by it, but nobody did anything about it, Dayton Marvel said. Another, Angel Hernandez, recalled an incident where another wrestler teased him for losing, and he just started punching him. Alyssa has been arrested at least once before, including in 2017 when he punched someone who had made fun of his race. Now, okay, that is never right. I'm sorry. This is where the claws come out, and the libertarian in me comes out. You don't make fun of people who are different than you. You don't. So, if somebody, I might have punched him too. Okay, so I'm actually going to give the guy a pass on that. In July 2019, in a Facebook post, he ranted, "Yeah, if those racist Islamophobic people would stop hacking my phone and let me lead a normal life, I probably could." Journalist, listen to this. This is where it gets interesting. Journalist Jack Posobiec, citing an unidentified White House official, said President Biden has been briefed that the Colorado shooter had ISIS sympathies. In a subsequent tweet, Posobiec said, "It's beginning to look like the Boulder shooting was a jihadist terrorist attack." Later yesterday, Posobiec, citing a national security source, said Al-Issa was a Syrian refugee who arrived through an Obama-era asylum program. You can find all this stuff. All this stuff is easy to find. So if you want to corroborate it, what I'm saying, feel free. It's all out there. This isn't any secret website. I have no secret methods of finding things. No more. I have no more ability than you do. So this is all getting very scary. Now, let's compound that with what is going on with the military. And it gets even more scary. This is from WND. Warning of a sudden new threat of extremism from the right. And first of all, why would they be worried about extremism from the right? Unless they are aware they are becoming tyrannical, tyrants, fascists. Why would they worry about extremism from the right? The right is not an extremist movement. Far from it. The left, on the other hand, they're extremists. But they're worried about the right. Why? Why are they worried about the right? Why have they fortified the U.S. Capitol with fence and razor wire that they refuse to take down? And, oh yeah, National Guard troops. Why? Unless they realize they are becoming the tyrants the Constitution talks about. The Constitution that raging racist Joy Reid doesn't even understand. A woman who shouldn't even be given a spot on a Sunday night jazz music show on a 250-watt low-power AM radio station is sitting there, queen of the cock of the walk, or queen of the scene, as it were, at MSNBC, spewing racism and hatred for guns and lies about the Constitution, which she doesn't understand. So, they're warning of a sudden new threat of extremism from the right. So, Joe Biden's Pentagon is indoctrinating military service members in a program, quote, packed with progressive ideology and misstatements about the Constitution. This coming from former Department of Justice lawyer J. Christian Adams. Look him up. Now, in a PJ Media column, Adams said, the Navy, for example, in a talk titled Extremism Stand Down, it presents, quote, misstatements of the law and warped characterizations of fellow citizens who believe in constitutional principles as fact. So, they are presenting lies about the Constitution as fact in the Navy. That's a means. What is the end game, do you suppose? You know what the end game is. This all ties in together. The gun control, the open borders, the new woke military. It's all different means, but it all is focused on a singular end. You know what that end is. I don't like to talk about it, but we know what it is. We've heard AOC talk about it. We've heard Bernie Sanders talk about it. Democratic socialism is the door cracking to full-blown communism. Democratic socialism is a myth. It's a lie. It's a politically correct way to say, we're going to control you and what you do and what you say and, if we can, what you think. So Adams said he obtained copies of the materials. Throughout the services, service members have been shocked at the Biden blitz to root out ideas and people who stand in the way of the administration's transformative agenda. Adams said one individual in the training told him, quote, the military is one of the last institutions left that hasn't been radicalized by the progressives. That's why it is being targeted now. Adams said his review of the materials, quote, makes it clear to me the armed forces are to be integrated into the Biden administration's racialist agenda. The Navy contends, he said, that if, quote, extremist behavior, unquote, is not eliminated from the ranks, then, quote, racism, injustice, indignity, and disrespect will grow and keep us from reaching our potential. Can you imagine? But the materials do not cite a single instance. According to Adams, the materials do not cite one single instance of racism, injustice, indignity, or disrespect, explaining that the scripted training tells officers what to say to the ranks. The do's and don'ts of facilitation ensure that dissent will not be welcomed, he noted. Do be alert to statements about prohibited behavior, extremism in the ranks, which rely on inaccurate or misleading assumptions, misconception, or myth. Do not allow only a few participants to dominate the conversation. Adams cited demands that no one be allowed to, quote, stray off topics. The Navy contends, he said, that if, quote, extremist behavior is not eliminated from the ranks, then they aren't going to reach their potential. How about that? Adams cited demands that no one be allowed to stray off topics, and interestingly, he pointed out neither Chinese communists nor Antifa rioters are mentioned, despite ongoing acts of violence. Neither the communists or Antifa. The Chinese committing genocide, Antifa killing cops, burning buildings, destroying neighborhoods, ruining lives are not mentioned. Because they're all good in the progressive world. They're all good. But the military must man and woman up. Too much dissent. Too much racial injustice. Where? Where? I have never talked to anybody in the military who has a modicum of racial hatred, of ethnic hatred. They fight alongside each other. This is to change America, plain and simple, and they're doing it. They're going as far as they can go because they know once they can indoctrinate the military, because they know the military, as long as the military is fighting for our rights, for our Constitution, then they're going to turn. They're going to turn on the government. They're going to fight with us when all hell breaks loose, when the SHTF, they don't want that. They want to nip that in the bud. They want to make sure the military is on their side. So there's been a stand down implemented until they can weed out all of the bad apples, a.k.a. conservatives. You see where this is going? Do you see where this is going? And it's all interesting, isn't it, how it's all happening at once? The open borders, the gun control, the military stand down, the new edicts in the military. Adams, this guy, now, if you're just tuning in, this guy's name is J. Christian Adams. He's a former Department of Justice lawyer. Adams said the Pentagon is clear that it does not want people to exercise their rights. Listen, maybe the most troubling paragraph in this whole story from WND. A whole section, and this is from Adams, a whole section is devoted to banning behavior. Whenever the word ban is used, you can be sure that it's a leftist edict, and nothing that comes after the word ban is good or constitutional. You rest assured of that every time. A whole section is devoted to banning behavior such as, quote, liking any material that promotes discrimination based on gender identity. In other words, if you listen to this, if you believe in biological sex, that is, that a man is a man and a woman is a woman, that a boy is a boy, a girl is a girl, a mom is a mom, a dad is a dad, uncle is an uncle, aunt is an aunt. If you believe in biological sex, you might be involuntarily separated or court-martialed. Toe the line. The freedom you're fighting for, well, you aren't allowed to exercise any of it. Never mind that Congress has never passed any such law. And we have a leader right now, a so-called leader. He's not a leader. He's not leading. If you believe he's leading, then I don't know what to tell you. You aren't paying attention. Joe Biden, who thinks dogs can cure cancer, is going to be doing a press conference on Thursday, and I can't wait to see. Are the questions all going to be pre-approved? I would think. I don't think, if he's going to do it alone, I don't think there's any other way to do it. Yeah, good. Yeah, right. Rick says, good luck. Most who join the military, I believe, aren't Democrats. You know, this is going to be interesting because this is all going to come out. I mean, we're going to know everything they're doing. I mean, there are going to be stories. There are going to be stories coming out of the military, and I think you're right. I don't know what the delineation is between Democrats and Republicans in the military. I'm sure a lot more conservative. I guarantee you're right there. I mean, why else would they want to fight for a Constitution if they don't believe in the Constitution? And the left, by and large, doesn't like the Constitution. So why would they fight for it? If not, maybe for the education opportunities. I get that. I mean, that's a big draw, I think, to join the military. The opportunities you get. I mean, great health care with the Veterans Administration. They do a great job. At least the one in Maine does. Togus does a great job. So there are bennies to joining the military. But why would you, why would you put your life on the line for free stuff when the Democrats want to give you free stuff for doing nothing anyway? So, yeah, I think you're right. I think there are many more conservatives in the military. And I don't think most of them are going to buy any of this nonsense. They're going to be talking about it when they come home. And they're going to be letting the cat out of the bag. And there are going to be stories. We're never going to know who they came from because they wouldn't want to get in trouble with their commanding officers. They wouldn't want to be dishonorably discharged. But they're not going to buy this because unlike the left, conservatives aren't sheep. We are constantly called sheep by the left, but that's because the left always calls us things that they themselves are. What they say is nothing more. They're talking to a mirror. When they call you a racist, they call you a sheep. They say you're a Kool-Aid drinker. They are literally looking in a mirror. They're because it all reflects on what they are. So, yeah, Joe Biden says dogs can cure cancer. Okay, hold on. I do have to take a break. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. I'm John James.
Legacy 1160, WSKW.
Many things change over time, but since 1972, one thing hasn't changed at all. That Delta Ambulance will always be there when you need them most. Delta Ambulance prides themselves on having a team that utilizes superior training, years of experience, and state-of-the-art medical technologies. So if you need safe transportation for routine or critical care transfers, Delta Ambulance is standing by. Learn more about the difference Delta makes at deltaambulance.org. Compassion, leadership, excellence. That's Delta Ambulance.
Hi, this is Tony Esposito from Rockland Ford. This year has been crazy, and it has majorly affected the car market. Here's what you need to know. COVID has slowed down new car supplies to a trickle, and factories are still shutting down because parts aren't available. Now, what does that mean for you? That means that your used car has never been worth more. In fact, it might be worth more than what you paid for it. Rockland Ford wants to buy your car, and we are paying top dollar for everything, especially trucks. So swing by or give us a call because we are buying everything. Also, the redesigned 2021 F-150s are here, and they are easily the best F-150 I've ever seen. They have tons of new features and a great new look. You can lease one of these bad boys for as low as $379 a month. Don't forget to maximize your used vehicle's value by selling it to us. That's at Rockland Ford, home of the Rock Bottom Deal, Route 1 in Thomaston.
Lease for 36 months, 12,000 miles a year, $3,500 down with qualified credit.
Hi, I'm Greg from Gregory's Disposal. Dumpsters, dumpsters, dumpsters. Call Gregory's Disposal, 465-4500. We can help. Cleaning out Grandma's attic, or if the kids finally moved out, leaving the junk behind, we have debris dumpsters and many sizes of roll-offs to get the job done quickly and efficiently. Call Gregory's. Call Gregory's, 465-4500. How about remodeling, redoing the roof, tearing off the old porch? Gregory's will bring the right size dumpster at the right cost. Our dumpsters are brown, and we keep our prices down. Call Gregory's. Call Gregory's, 465-4500. Gregory's can also help with your weekly rubbish. We offer many services, including curbside pickup, residential dumpsters, whatever you need. Gregory's is there to help. Call Gregory's, 465-4500. In case you missed it, call Gregory's Disposal, 465-4500.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Areas of dense fog this morning, then mainly cloudy today with highs in the 50s to near 60 degrees further inland. Chance for rain showers tonight into tomorrow morning, then clearing during the afternoon tomorrow with highs eventually climbing into the 60s. Rainy and breezy Friday with highs in the 50s. Cooler Saturday with highs back in the 40s.
Welcome back, Legacy 1160 Freedom's Pep Rally, brought to you by the Gun Shop on Coney Circle in Augusta. Stop in and see me amigos. Cody. Hey, shout out to Cody and Crystal and Adam and Jared. Did I get that right? I don't know. I don't know. I think it's Jared. Nice guy. They're all so nice. They're all nice people over there. Told you a friend of mine went in there a few weeks ago now, and bought 2 AR-15s. Yeah, God bless America. And now I don't know is Dynamo Joe can ban AR-15s by executive order. I don't know if he can or not. Have no clue. I would hope not. I would think not, but you never know. Background checks. This stuff is all control. It's all a means to an end. And this shooting in Boulder, Colorado was an absolute tragedy. It was horrifying. Horrifying. And one of Boulder's finest was one of the men. A man, he had 7 children? Unbelievable. They were all white people. Even though the tweets that came out just after the shooting said, "Oh, some white guy just shot up a whole bunch of people. Most of them white people, white Democratic virtue signaling scumbags. Oh, some white guy went out and he shot up. He used an AR-15 before they even knew it was an AR-15 to shoot up a supermarket, killed 10 people. Some white guy, some white racist, some white supremacist." Guess what? No, it was a Syrian guy. Syrian guy who came in during the Obama administration on some sort of refugee thing that Obama had going. I'm not sure what it was. Oh, that hurts the narrative. We can't talk about that on MSNBC. No. Can't talk about that on CNN. No. See, what they want to do and what they try to do to the willing participants in their so-called news programs, which they are not. They're not news. If they were news, by the way, if you've never heard the definition of the word news is information about what is going on, what is happening. Here's some information. And news traditionally is not peppered with editorial opinion. It is presented only as fact. I see that on Fox News. I see Bill Hemmer doing that. I see Brett Baer doing that. I see Chris Wallace doing that. I see that. I don't see anybody on MSNBC doing that. Can you imagine Nicole Wallace doing a story about conservatives without some editorial comment? Or Stephanie Rule or what's her name? Andrea Mitchell or Joe Scarborough. Yeah, Chuck Todd, you know what he says. You know what he says, right?
And just a reminder, for what it's worth, there is no editorial point of view here on any of these newscasts on MSNBC in the daytime.
That's what Chuck Todd says. What a joke of a person he is. He's not a journalist. He's not a professional. Little twitching rabbit face. I do. I want every time I see his face twitching when he's upset about some conservative, Donald Trump or MAGA thing. I want to slip him some lettuce. I do. He's like a rabbit. Looks like a little rabbit face. Anyway, I'm sorry. I don't mean to look shame Chuck Todd. He's just a mook. That's all he is. So anyway, I did want to tell you about Joe Biden. Apparently, he's a bigger believer in dogs than we thought. Now, his dogs, of course, are back in Wilmington, Delaware, which may be why he spends a lot of time there at his home in Wilmington, even though he's supposed to be in the White House all the time, where all the action is. Maybe he's got himself a red phone in the house. Actually, no, he doesn't need a red phone because Kamala Harris does all the foreign chats with leaders. The president certainly gave dogs a lot of praise yesterday. He was at Ohio State University's James Cancer Hospital. Is that what it's called? James, what it says. Ohio State University's James Cancer Hospital. Okay. Saying dogs may help cure. Saying dogs, now here's pay attention to the way he said it. Dogs may help cure cancer, not a joke. He said not a joke twice, so he's serious. That's one of his crutches. We all have crutches. Not a joke. Not a joke. And notice this for me, would you? One of Biden's things is he often repeats the last line. We've got to get to a place where we can all be happy again. Where we all can be happy again. He does that all the time. It drives me crazy. But so anyway, Biden's statement raised a lot of eyebrows. Because even if you love dogs, and I love dogs, I do, I've always loved dogs. I had beagles. I loved my beagles. But curing cancer, really? Now, watching the clip, the president did say something that is true, which is dogs can smell cancer. And there are dogs that you want to talk about a PET scan? Huh? Yeah. How about that one? Jimmy Kimmel. Maybe you guys should try to be funny once in a while. You can't talk politics because you're too stupid and you aren't funny anymore. And I'm talking about all of them. Okay, so that was my cheap joke for the day. And Ben, if you're listening, go ahead, use that in your joke sheet. So he said dogs can help cure, they can smell cancer. That is true. They're amazing animals, but they can't help cure cancer. It's detection, not a cure. Not a cure. That's far-fetched. Thank you. So here he is, not only saying dogs can sniff out cancers, but that they can help cure it. And
if you owe less than $331,000.
Oh, okay. Whoa.
Oh,
okay. Here it is. What happened to this?
You come from a...
Okay, no. Apparently this wasn't edited very well. I'm going to pull a Casey Kasem here if you don't get me the sound I want. Why do we always come out of an upbeat song with a story about a dog? A story about an effing dog. I'm Casey Kasem. All right, get me the cut, and I'll edit it on the fly. I'm good at this. This is one of my very few talents. I can edit on the fly. I'm good. It's because I don't get flustered. I get a little perturbed, but I don't get flustered very easily. Okay, that's cut I. Is that right? Cut I. All right. And I'll see. Maybe it's the wrong cut. Maybe it can't be edited. Okay, let's try this. Okay, let's see. Is this Joe Biden? Dogs can cure cancer.
Exposed to certain types of dogs may help cure cancer.
Help cure cancer.
Not a joke.
Not a joke.
Dogs are able to, they're using dogs now because their olfactory glands are 400 times what a human is, to smell cancer.
Smell cancer.
In people's legs and people's bodies. Not a joke.
Not a joke. Okay, so that was hard to hear. So it was a crappy cut anyway. But dogs can help cure cancer. Not a joke. Yeah, it is a joke. They can't cure cancer. They can't even help cure cancer. They can help find cancer, which is huge, huge, but they can't cure it. Anyway, so that's minor, but I mean, this typical Joe Biden, he says things that he knows after he says them, or maybe he doesn't know, that people are going to jump all over it, which is why he hasn't had a presser since he took office. And there has been no State of the Union address either. Oh, shoot. Okay, I've got another Candace Owens story I wanted to share. Oh, we do? Oh, good. Okay, good. I want to share this. I've got time. Yesterday, we were talking about Candace Owens, who's just an amazing American patriot. I love Candace Owens. Oh, who happens to be black? But is she? Can she be conservative and black? Well, Anna Navarro on The View doesn't think so. A lot of other people don't think so. She can't be black. She can't really be black. She's conservative. Blacks aren't conservative. Well, you'd be surprised. Oh, that's changing. Woo, yeah. Vernon Jones, former Democrat from Georgia, on with Savannah last night on The Savvy Truth. He was a lifelong Democrat. He's a conservative now. He's a pro-Trumper now. He hates the Democratic Party has left him now because he's got objectivity and he has got morality. And so does Candace Owens. So therefore, she can't be black. And now I can prove my point. A left-wing white male. Okay, those are very important words. A left-wing white male running for U.S. Congress responded yesterday to a Twitter post from Candace Owens by tweeting her an image of a Ku Klux Klan hood and said in her Monday tweet, Owens, a black woman, wrote, "The number one violent offenders against black people are other black people. The number one violent offenders against Asian Americans are also black people. But both Black Lives Matter and Asian Lives Matter are campaigns dedicated to stomping out white supremacy because clown world." That's what she tweeted. In response, Liam O'Mara, this is the white leftist dude. He is also, not surprisingly, a history professor and a Democratic candidate in California. He sends her an image of a KKK hood along with a text reading, "Yikes, you may have dropped this." To Candace Owens, "Yikes, you may have dropped this," referring to the Ku Klux Klan hood. Wow. You talk about virtue signaling white scumbags. No words. Soon, O'Mara, who subsequently claimed Owens is recycling explicitly white supremacist arguments, felt the heat from Twitter users, including Candace Owens. Here are some of them. One commentator wrote of O'Mara, pretty sure that this is a hate crime in California. Owens offered the following observation. Pretty sure a white man dropping a Klansman hood off to target a black woman is a hate crime everywhere. I wonder if I could file a police report against him in California. Good for her. Another user asked Owens, I sure as hell would. It's definitely a hate crime. God, what the hell is going on? Other sentiments. You seriously just tweeted this to a black woman? You need help. Another one. Racist Democrats back at it again with racist tweets. Who would have guessed that Liam, the racist Democrat, hates black people? But Candace Owens isn't really black. She's a white supremacist. That's what he said. That's basically what he said. Look him up to see if he looks like a typical lib. They've got a look about him. I'm not lying to you. I'm you're damn right I am. I bet he does. Another one. Being from the South, this is one of the most insulting things you could ever do to a person of color. We approach things like this with far more sensitivity due to our past. But let me tell you, that is racist and has no place in this country. In no way is that amusing. Oh, here's a good one. Can only imagine what the response would be if a Republican congressional representative sent a picture of a Klan hood to an African-American commentator. I'm glad that we're consistent on our outrage. Now, O'Mara, in one of the subsequent tweets, wrote that I study extremist rhetoric for a living, and this stuff is really dangerous. So, see, he's smarter than you. He's saying, I'm smarter. I study this. I'm a professor. I'm a leftist. I'm woke. I'm better than you. I can call a black woman a racist. I can send her a Ku Klux Klan hoodie. And it's okay because I'm smarter than you. You just don't understand the messaging in it. That's what he's saying. But another commenter came back and said, what is dangerous is a white guy trying to intimidate a black woman because he disagrees with her. Reminds me of the 1920s when the KKK-affiliated groups were erecting statues of Confederates to keep the black people in their place. As a history guy, you should know that. Boom! And that's going to do it for today. Man, I'm spent. And my truck's ready. I've got new brakes. I'll be able to stop today. Hallelujah. Life is good. Oh, we have our ups and downs. I know. We all, I don't care what party you're in. I don't care what your ideology is. We all bleed the same. We all suffer the same. We all feel the same when it comes to tragedy, human tragedy. Thank you, Alanie. Thank you. That means a lot. And welcome back, by the way. Let's see. Holy guacamole. Where's the outrage? Yeah, I know. Where is the outrage again? Well, it came out from conservatives. Oh, but the leftists will look the other way. That'll never be on MSNBC or CNN. No. Couldn't let that get out. We don't report the news if we don't want you to hear it. That's how they keep their minions in line. They just don't tell them what they don't want them to know. All right, that's it. I'm running late. I'm maybe going to be in trouble. I doubt it. But again, listen, you have video needs. You want to do a documentary. You want to do something like that for your store, for your, I don't know, car dealership, for your house. Oh, this is a good one. How about we go through all the inventory in your house? Videotape it. You can narrate it. It'll be great. It'll be great. I do all this stuff. This is a sideline. This is what I do in my free time when I'm not doing show prep and voiceover stuff. I like to be busy. Okay, so tomorrow we're gonna cover a fight, a literal Senate floor fight between Dr. Anthony Fauci and Senator Dr. Rand Paul. It was epic. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great afternoon. I'm John James, and this is Freedom's Pep Rally.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington, this is WSKW, Skowhegan.